Beasley Media Group Station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
Yes, it does. Your Wednesday morning John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Always will screw me up this week. Trying to figure out what day of the week it is, but it's Wednesday, which means we're closer and closer to the Eagles season kicking off, and I am sleep deprived today because of deciding to stay up and listen to that game last night. And it was painful as the Phillies in San Diego just had one of those nights. And this is one of those times where I'll say it's one of those nights. They looked flat. And by the time I turned off the TV and went to the radio feed and was just laying in bed, couldn't sleep, they just didn't have it last night. That happens. In a baseball season, that happens. I shrugged that one off in a big way. It's going to happen. I'd like to see a win of the series versus San Diego. A even road trip would be nice to go 3-3. But again, the door's been opened up to now add drama that pushes you down the stretch as the Cubs are now just a game and a half behind you in the wild card standings for that all-important top wild card. You're still 5 games up on the Marlins, who just before you play the Marlins start to play some good baseball and they're back in it. They get back in it they're only a half game out of the third wild card spot, 5 behind the Phillies. There's 3 games with the Marlins next week. You've opened the door to drama by putzing around. You've given these other teams the opportunity to make this interesting. I thought it would be taken care of. I didn't see the Cubs doing this, though, Bob. I thought the Cubs would be a good team, but I didn't think that they would. I thought they'd be the second wild card. I didn't think they'd be close, though. This is a little shocking.
Yeah. The up and downs continue of the Phillies team. Frustrating 3 hits, 4 double plays. You start the game with a bunch of walks. I mean, 6 walks altogether off the starting pitcher, and you can't take advantage of it at all. Nick Castellanos recorded 4 outs on 2 pitches.
The double play.
That's kind of hard to do.
He's very anxious at the plate.
They all are sometimes. It's it'll go to your approach thing, like do they have the proper one? Are they looking, when somebody's throwing a lot of balls, when they're walking a lot of people, I'm the type that, okay, be patient.
Yes.
There's the other side of it of, well, he's going to try to start you with a strike, so think fastball down the middle and take advantage. And I understand that, too. Last night, it just didn't happen. And you're right. Trey Turner being out, paternity leave, all of that thing.
Congratulations to their family awaiting, I guess, still awaiting.
I thought that was pretty cool. It's exactly 9 months. Yesterday was exactly 9 months after he signed the $300 million contract.
Ah, yes.
You think wifey was happy when he signed that contract?
I think she may have been.
Yeah, see, it appears so. So I asked my wife about it last night. I said, is that what it takes?
Is that what it takes?
Just got to sign a $300 million contract, and then
to make your wife happy. I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, I guess. But I agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. Last night was kind of a write-off. Okay, done. Whatever. You got Wheeler going today. Getaway game afternoon. Get it done. Split the road series, and then start taking care of, finishing out this season.
Well, you got to start to eliminate some of these teams. And Connor, I saw where you said good night, everybody. You were like ready to go to bed.
Oh yeah, that game was over.
Yeah, it was over. And it's one of those. That is one of those games that just had a look about it.
Did you stay till the end?
I stayed till like the start of the 9th inning. It was over at that point.
I'm an idiot, and I told John this morning, Connor. I didn't have a chance to tell you because
you always tell me you're
around.
Yeah,
well, I know
every morning he tells me.
This isn't news.
So not only did I stay till the final out when Brandon Marsh struck out, then I tuned over to YouTube TV to watch the coverage of the escapee.
He was watching Fugitive coverage all night long.
What are you doing?
Guess what? Everybody in Philly is.
I don't know. I'm kind of addicted.
Bob, one of those feeds yesterday that they had, I think at one point had like 1,600 people on it.
The one I was watching on Fox on YouTube had close to 5,000.
That's crazy.
What are you
And
guys
it's this
doing?
guy, Chris O'Connell.
Yes,
who-
Chris is doing a good job, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel his pain. I've been out in the field reporting on stuff, sitting outside of Terrell Owens' house after he did push-ups. All of those things. It sucks when you're looking for just the little bit of something. The adrenaline does keep you going, but I don't know. I think it's the newsman in me. I just love to watch for breaking news.
So there's this little thing they're going to do when they catch this guy is they're going to replay all the footage for like 1 billion hours over and over and over again.
That doesn't matter. No,
When they catch him,
it's the excitement of seeing that you're watching it live.
That was more
But nothing's
exciting.
happening.
Yeah, but it was more exciting than the Phillies game.
Good point,
Far
John.
more exciting. This guy runs better than the Phillies do. He obviously makes good decitions when he runs,
They're dealing
unlike
with
the Phillies
Houdini.
on the base paths. I mean, this guy is clutch.
man.
This guy's completely clutch because they set up an FBI perimeter. He somehow gets around it. By the way, the little water tunnels seem to be the pathway. See, the local residents all are on the chat boards too, saying he's using the water tunnels. He's using the pass unders that go under the roads and everything.
It's like you guys watching paint dry to me. I got no.
That's what the Phillies were.
last night, yeah.
That's exactly what the Phillies are. They're boring as hell.
That
Dude,
wasn't
my gosh.
wasn't the best game.
No, it was terrible last night. But that game doesn't. That's the kind of loss, though. As a Phillies fan, it doesn't bother me as much. You get 3 hit, you lose 8-0.
Yeah.
That to me, I shrug off. Lose 7-6, where you make 3 stupid base running decisions and you misplay a ball. That's the kind of game that I go. That's the one they should have had. That's the game that they should have been able to put in the win column. So 24 to go. What game bothers you more? A loss. Does that bother you more, or an 8-0, or a 7-6 where you blew opportunities along the way, or you made miscues?
It's funny. I guess the 7-6 would, but why would an 8-0 not bother me? Also,
Yeah.
It's easy to write things off, but is that the lazy man's way?
Oh, it can be.
Yeah,
Or
And look,
it's the shrug your shoulders guy, like you're trying to make an excuse.
Yeah, and Lorenzen was left out to dry because he had to be, because you used 5 relievers 2 days in a row. So you were down to pretty much nobody in the bullpen, and he comes out and he is what he is.
Captain Hook.
Last night. So you have to let him roll because you don't have really anybody to go. So he's got to stay out there and take his licks like he did, getting 6 runs in 6 innings.
He deserved it. He deserved the beating he got last night.
I thought he looked all right last night. I thought his stuff looked good. I thought his spots looked good. I thought that's a good lineup, and you kind of just he got a little unlucky, right? You've got guys hitting into double plays, not giving you as much time on the bench as you need. He got some bloop hits, some ones that were just dropping in.
Gave up 7 runs in how many innings?
He did.
So you didn't give your team a chance to win. The double plays matter, but
how much of it was really hard contact? Like the Tatis home run was smoked. But
that was smoked.
There were a lot of plays in front of outfielders. Normally, if pitchers are giving up plays in front of outfielders, that means they're doing something right. Like, I don't think it was a bad performance by him. I don't think it was a great performance by him.
I think it was terrible.
I got to tell you,
I think it was horrendous.
You're bordering on cheerleader.
Yes, because that was horrendous last night.
I'm telling you, like, it's not. He didn't win. He gave up a bunch of runs. Yes, I'm saying what he did the past couple times out, I thought he spotted all right.
Well, we're not talking about the last couple times out. We're talking about tonight.
No, I know. I'm saying the last couple times out, I thought he had better spots and everything. Like, I thought it was a better type of way to go about pitching than he has done.
Wow, I can't see it that way, but that's the way I guess you're looking at it.
Response.
I mean, that was batting practice. That was batting practice. He wasn't fooling anybody. He didn't fool anybody last night. To me, you have to fool people. Zach Wheeler's successful. Aaron Nola's successful. They fool people. They have people off guard. They don't know what they're going to get next. Does he come up with a high fastball? Does he put a sinker out there? Whatever it is. He didn't fool anybody. Lorenzen doesn't. He's not missing any bats.
Yeah,
right
he doesn't.
Now.
He never has. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He's a contact pitcher.
Yeah, but now he's just a base hit pitcher. And he's digging a hole. And I don't know what they're going to do with him. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. 6 o'clock hour brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro. Travis Kelce hyperextends his knee yesterday at practice for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's questionable for the opening game. And this is exactly the way I watch preseason football. I saw that and I'm like, oh, that is terrible. Because he is absolutely a huge, huge part. The second most important player for the Kansas City Chiefs. right before they have their banner night, an opening game on network TV, Travis Kelce may not be playing. And that's got to put fear into everybody's hearts. But who's the Eagles' second best player? If this was the Eagles, and we're not wishing anything, and hopefully Travis Kelce makes a quick recovery, who's the Eagles' second best player?
It's easy. Change the first name.
So you say it's
Jason Kelce.
I do not believe that.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't believe that.
That's a great one.
He's
It's
one
an
of the
absolute
people.
Great one.
You mean you've drafted somebody and crafted somebody to be able to take his spot more? Lane Johnson, to me, is the guy. If I heard Lane Johnson was limping around after practice and was questionable for the Eagles opener,
so
that is the player who we have documented evidence that he's been the biggest impact when he's out.
do you know why? Because he's been out. When was the last time we missed significant time with Jason Kelce?
Not really. I mean,
That's the thing. Like, yeah, sure, Lane Johnson looks like it because he's missed time. Jason Kelce doesn't miss time. He's the middle of that line. He's a guy, and we're going to hear about it in a segment coming up that Bob's going to do a little bit deeper on this, how Nick Sirianni feels about him. But that's the guy that runs that line on the field.
You know, and even deeper on your point, if you lose Kelce, now you got to move your starting right guard to center. Now you got to come up with another starting right guard. That's 40% of your offensive line that's
Shifting
getting
around.
shifted around. So that's a pretty good one, Connor. I went offensive side of the ball also, and I went one of the wide receivers.
so you think either one of them?
A.J. Brown. Yeah, probably A.J. Brown. I think they're both number one wide receivers. I think A.J. Brown maybe more so a number one. Quez Watkins and Devontae Smith as your two receivers. Not that it scares me. I love Devontae Smith, and I think that Quez Watkins is in for a decent year. But, yeah, I think I would go A.J. Brown would scare me the most.
I guess things taken away from Jalen Hurts would be a reason to be concerned because I want the defense to be able to have its growing pains, and I thoroughly expect September and October there are going to be some bumps in the road where this team's going to be getting adjusted to a new system and everything like that, and you can't overreact to that as long as they're winning. If they're losing, feel free to overreact all you want. But if they win the games and they're sort of making some mistakes and looking a little sloppy and doing things, they can fix that as long as they're winning. That you can't. That's the one thing, Connor, I cannot have. I cannot have them losing games because of the defense trying to find itself.
No, but I think in Sirianni's tenure here, you've seen a team that's come out coached pretty well from the preseason. And they played tight games in week one. But I haven't really seen it as like, oh, the coaching staff has missed this huge monumental thing that they just didn't address with these guys. Like, he's a very good head coach. I know he focuses more on the offense, but he's had his house in order pretty well since he's taken over here.
Yeah, the first year, remember, though, 7 games into the year when we got on that plane in Vegas, after that loss in Vegas,
Yeah.
they were on pace to be the most penalized team in the history of the NFL.
Right.
Like, so, I mean, he fixed it, though. Again, they
Yes.
fixed it. And so that's where I have confidence that he can do that also.
That's all I'm saying. Like, he's had problems before that he's found and addressed. Like, I don't have any concerns. He might be, of all the players, I might have less concerns about Nick Sirianni than any player. Like, he seems so solid as a head coach to me, and the team trusts him. So I'm not too worried about the quality of play from the fundamental standpoint.
Interesting.
Because they were very sloppy in camp.
That's fine. Everyone's sloppy in camp. That's why it's camp.
Yeah. I as I said before, I don't mind hearing that things weren't going well and he had to get on guys' asses and stuff like that.
Stuff like that?
I didn't say it.
You came close enough.
I think roses and ice cream cones and all that stuff, it's not football enough to me. Like, I need to see some bruises and bad things and some biting of guys, egos or whatever. So, Connor, you're right. I worry that we're too laissez-faire about this Eagles team sometimes.
I worry that you're using French.
Yeah.
Bob Cooney starts using French, I'm out.
Well,
But
you
I'll
used
tell you
French
what,
twice this segment.
as much. Yeah,
I
as
had
much
3
as
years of French, and I can't remember any of it.
As much as I dig into trying to just find concerns and things that I would like to see corrected, Nick Sirianni has not come up at all.
Hey,
Sirianni's not a concern. You're right, Connor. I agree with you.
in 2 years,
That's crazy.
he's garnered this kind of 2 new coordinators, though. I do have concerns. with both of them.
Oh, absolutely.
And so they have to prove themselves a little bit. Hey, if your basement or your crawl space smells musty, especially during these humid times, or has watermarks on the block walls, you need to get a completely free home inspection from the experts. Call BQ Basements and Concrete because the problem is only going to get worse. So it is Eagles game week. We will have our first Football Friday coming up this Friday as we look forward to the Eagles season beginning. Can't wait for that one in New England. It was funny. I had some Patriots trolls, and then our friends in New England going to be using the article I wrote for 975thefanatic.com yesterday, going to be using that as some fodder today for the Eagles are overconfident. And as I said in the email that I said, they're like, you don't mind, we're going to use it. And I said, that's great. No, use it. I said, but what I would tell you is the Eagles aren't overconfident. I am. There's nothing out of the Eagles camp that's saying they're overconfident. I am. I just put all the reasons why you shouldn't buy into the hype of the New England Patriots. They're like, you're underestimating Bill Belichick. If I hear one more person say, Bill Belichick's got extra time to prepare, he's lost the last 2 home openers. Would you stop it with that? Would you do some research, please? Just some research. It's really easy. He had all offseason to prepare for the Ravens last year. He got pantsed. They had no plan for Lamar Jackson. Absolutely none. I mean, it's like people are like, well, don't be afraid. He doesn't have an advantage anywhere. If Nick Sirianni loses this chess match, I'm going to be disappointed. I will be very disappointed if they do not win this game on Sunday.
I think it'll be one of a million.
And I don't care if it's 17. I don't care if it's 27-24. Just get the win. Just get the win. On the road, that's what I always say. Just get the win. Put it in the win column. Hey, and place your wagers on the BetPark Sportsbook app. Make your pro and college football futures bets now on the BetPark Sportsbook app. Got to be 21 in Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Maryland now. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I have listed all my prop bets for the year that I wagered on the BetParks app. It'll be up on 975thefanatic.com a little bit later on. Busy morning. We get ready for it. I want to thank the folks at Yards very much. Appreciate them showing support for me. It is treatment 7 for me today. Jason Flowers, Tom Kehoe, thank you very much to the folks at Yards. I have got a hat that Bill Strobel has already noticed on Twitter. He's like, that's a good hat from our friends at Yards. Check it on out. Appreciate it. And the boys sent along some hats for you guys, too. So
nice.
Got a good chance to get in on it all. You guys don't have to undergo the chemo today.
No,
you don't have to. You just get a hat. I think that's a better deal. I think that works out. That works out slightly better for you. All right, coming up, we have got so much to get to, including we got Bob talking about some of the things that individual seasons and how much individual seasons can carry over to a next season. And are we maybe over projecting? John Kincade Show.
to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on a Wednesday morning. Make sure you make an appointment. We want you here at 7:30 this morning when Mark Schlereth, Stink, will check in. He doesn't have the game this week, but he's very anxious to talk about your Philadelphia Eagles. Spoiler alert. I think he really, really likes the Eagles again. And last year he was right with that. So it got us to the Super Bowl. And at 8 o'clock today, special time, a little 20 minutes early, Adam Schefter joins us at 8 a.m. this morning. So Schlereth, Schefter. Got the two SCHs taking you in as kids are going back to school.
Holy
Schefter joins us, so it's good. 6 o'clock hour brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. You may not always need a new water heater, but when you do, choose Bradford White. The talk of heating. Things are heating up, and Bob wants to talk a little bit about can you sustain when people have great seasons?
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's corner.
Yeah, we talked a little bit yesterday when we said, there was a lot of career years last year, and can guys emulate them? And we went up and down, mostly on the defensive side of the ball, a little bit on the offensive side. But let's change it up a little bit today. Let's look at players that you think are going to have better seasons than they had last year. It could be statistically. It could be just a feel for you that they're going to have a bigger role, whatever it may be. But I'll give you guys the player, and you tell me if you think or how he can have a better season.
Okay.
All right, Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
A better season, second MVP voting, 22 touchdowns. Passing. John, I think you already said you think he can improve on that.
Oh, yeah. I think he could have a better year. I really do.
760 yards rushing.
It's wild. That is a wild number. I don't think he's going to I don't want him to do better than that.
No.
That's one of those ones where I don't want him to.
Well, that's a good way of putting it. All right, let's look at the wide receivers. The running backs are kind of unknown because you're bringing in two guys in Penny and Swift that you don't know how much they're going to be used, or you don't know how much any of the running backs is going to be used. So let's go to the wide receivers. Do you think Devontae Smith can improve on 95 receptions and 1,196 yards?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, for sure.
And 7
I
touchdowns.
absolutely do. Oh, I think the amount of touchdowns could go up, but I think the yardage will go up.
All
His
right,
yardage
give me some
is
numbers for him.
escalated. 1,200. I mean, he can crack the 1,200 number this year. 1,250.
That's 4 more yards.
1,250. But I mean, cracking that is like 1,250, 1,275, something like that, because I think that with A.J. Brown, there's still going to be a lot to go around. I think he will be the Eagles' leading receiver this year.
More than 95?
I think he's going to be the Eagles' leading, like he's going to be a yardage leader. I think it's going to be 100 receptions.
You think he's going to be yardage leader at 1,200?
Yep. No, I think he's going to be the yardage leader for this team.
Right,
I do
but
think
you said he's going to have about 1250.
Yes, because I think that it's going to be A.J. Brown's going to do a little bit less, and I think that you're going to see Dallas Goedert have a bigger year because of also, too, some of that passing yardage has got to go to out of the backfield to DeAndre Swift.
I don't know. I still don't believe in that, but we'll see how that plays out. All right, let's go A.J. Brown. Connor, 88 receptions for 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns. Is there a way to improve on that?
I'd say no.
John, what do you think? 88 and 1,500, 11 touchdowns?
It's pretty hard. That's pretty hard to improve on. And I don't think he will improve on those numbers.
Okay, Dallas Goedert, 55, 702, 3 touchdowns.
He better improve. He better improve
he doesn't
on that.
Have to. Like,
How?
that's enough to make him effective in this offense. How many touchdowns does he have, Bobby?
He missed 5 games also.
Yeah.
He had 3 touchdowns.
And that is 3 touchdowns.
I think he'll do better in the touchdowns, but I don't know if there's enough touches in the game to give him yardage.
How does Dallas Goedert have 3 touchdowns?
Because
I mean,
of
honestly,
this.
he played in 11 games or 12 games.
I think it's because of this. When you're going deeper, when you're throwing from outside the 20, your targets are A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. When you're inside the 10, they're running the ball.
There's a lot of that they do. They do run the ball in the red zone more than anybody.
Zach Ertz was that pacifier for a quarterback where you relied on him inside the 10-yard line. How many times did we see Wentz go back and just, boom, got Zach Ertz touchdown? That's what you saw a lot. They don't seem to do that with Goddard. And they don't.
I don't know, and I don't know why. I have no idea why.
Well, it's hard to question it when they put up the numbers they had last year.
I get you. It's just as I believe he's that tells me that they don't feel like they need to feature him.
No, he's a luxury.
Yeah, I do. I think he's your between the 20s guy. That's where you really dial him up. And then anything else, it's the other guys.
I think he's one that frustrates me because I am a Dallas Goedert fan, and every single game there is a drop. There's a stupid drop. It seems like they throw him a ball wide open, he drops it. And then he'll make some spectacular catch later on that makes me go, well, okay, all's forgiven. But it happens over and over and over again.
I just don't think he's enough of the offense for you to be upset with him or happy because of him. And it's no fault of his. I just don't think this offense features tight ends like that. When was the last time Dallas Goedert won you a game?
Yeah, I want.
When was the last time he cost you a game?
But the thing is, I want him. I want him to be that kind of force.
Oh, I don't care remotely. I just want the Eagles to win. And if they choose that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are the better way to do that, as long as they win, I'm happy. I think they've just chosen the wide receivers over the tight end.
All right, so I've already laid out some players for you, but give me somebody who you think is going to have a better season for the Eagles than they had last year.
Josh Sweat.
Wow, 11 sacks?
Yep. I think Josh Sweat's going to have I still think he is an anonymous player. I don't think his name is talked about around the league or otherwise. I'm a believer he's ready to ascend to that level of, hey, take notice, I'm here. And thank God Howie signed him when he had a chance to get him when he was affordable.
So what is better for Sweat? Just on the sacks? I mean, he had 11 sacks and only 4 more tackles for loss all season long.
I think that's the thing I want to see. The tackles for loss. I want to see more of that. The sacks are great. You give me more sacks. A more impactful player where you're saying his name all the time. And I think he could be that guy. Last year, we were saying every single game, we were talking about the fact that, wow, what they're able to do with Hassan Reddick is shocking. I think this year we're going to be talking the same way about Josh Sweat. I really do.
Connor, who you got? If you had to pick an Eagles player to say, I think he's going to have a better year than last year, which is hard because there were a lot of career years. Who would it be?
It's kind of cheap because I'm looking at some guys who didn't totally play full seasons or might have been in a lesser role. It would feel unfair to say Nakobe Dean because he's moving from a backup role to a starter. But I think Kenneth Gainwell is poised for a huge year compared to what he did last year.
Okay, that's interesting. You used the word huge. What's huge? And then you said compared to last year, but what's huge for you?
If Kenny Gainwell comes out and gives you 700-plus yards on the ground and scores 7 to 8 touchdowns.
Oh, that's a huge year.
That's a huge year. I think he could end up being like their feature back in scoring situations. And I also think he's got big playability. I really like his makeup. My only question with him is will he get, much like Dallas Goedert. I think Goddard's capable of doing more. But will he get the opportunity to do more? That's the biggest question.
And that is part of it. Is he going to get the opportunity? And again, it's like you're Bob complaining that there aren't enough Jimmys on your big ice cream sundae with Dallas Goedert. But I just always looked at Zach Ertz, one of my favorite players of all time as an Eagle. He's one of my favorite Eagles, and he was so damn dependable. And I guess I always thought that Dallas Goedert was going to ascend to that. But Zach Ertz did not have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
No, he did not.
Which made him the number one option.
Yeah. And Connor, it's funny. You go with Gainwell. That's a huge leap. How many carries do you think he averaged a game last year?
4 or 5?
5.5.
3?
Yeah.
3?
3.
I would have lost that bet.
That's huge going up to 700 yards when you have, and we're going to hit on it again later.
Oh, yeah.
A backfield by committee that Sirianni just seems to be.
By the way,
I love going away from.
Well, that's a bold take by me. I went a little out on a limb with that one.
No, that's okay.
It was bold, not beautiful, but bold.
We'll see.
It absolutely was. No, I absolutely am with you. You and I are on the Gainwell bandwagon.
It could be like a
we
swan.
may be off base with this.
It might look like an ugly duckling to start, but it could turn out being beautiful.
That's what your mom used to tell you going to school each day.
I'm still waiting.
That's one of the things I'm really going to be looking for, not only on Sunday, but are they using the running backs out of the backfield for passing?
I bet you're going to see.
It just hasn't been around. It hasn't been around since they were running wheel routes with Darren Sproles.
Hey, keep your golf game going in style all season long. PXG's latest fall arrivals are here. PXG continues to push the boundary of golf apparel innovation. You can shop now at your local PXG store today. Connor, you have an interesting quandary for Phillies fans as we head down the last 24 games
Yes.
as they try to clinch the top wild card spot.
Yeah, season's rounding up, boys. We're getting ready for Red October again, and hopefully they'll be able to be in the top wild card spot with the Cubs moving forward. But I have a question for you guys about the remaining series. Not counting this one, but after this series, and I'll read them out to you. Phils will play a 3-game series at home against the Marlins. They'll have 4 at home against the Braves. They'll have 3 in St. Louis, 3 in Atlanta, and then they'll go ahead and play the Mets for like ever.
They play the Mets for 4 at
and the
home,
Pirates are in
for
there.
3 at home, and then 3 at the Mets.
So I'm giving you guys the opportunity to pick one series the rest of the year. Not that the Phillies win the series, that the Phillies sweep the series. I think there's a 100% right answer. And if anyone has another one, you're really going to have to work hard to convince me of why it should be that series.
I absolutely have it.
Okay, what do you think it is?
The 3 at Atlanta.
Bob?
That they're going to sweep?
I'm saying no. If I can have it, if I can have a sweep,
you can have
you
it.
can have a
Yes.
sweep. I think that would be the best message in the world. That entire city, that entire metro area would crap their pants. If the Phillies went in and swept the Braves and the Braves hadn't clinched the number 1 spot yet and they were still playing for something, Atlanta would be gripping like nobody's business.
Bob, do you agree with John there, or do you have a different one?
I think that's an obvious answer. Like if you wanted one, obviously you go for the best. So I'm gonna play off of John a little bit. I'll go earlier than that. I'll say the 4 at home against Atlanta.
Okay.
To just let them know when they come here.
Because it's earlier. They're not going to be close to clinching yet, although,
Right.
It's no doubt they're going to take the division. I'll take the 4 at home to get that momentum and plant a seed.
Yeah, those are the top 2. I totally agree with what John was saying, though, and that was the one for me.
That was yours. Yeah, I thought
exactly.
that was.
Because if you can prove to Atlanta you can win down there, you're absolutely in great shape for that. Now, you got to get there first, but the
Right.
second round wild cards or the second round NLDS series, they just need to show that they can beat Atlanta. They have already.
They've already shown them for years. They've played well in Atlanta.
But frankly, none of these other series really matter. I heard T-Mac on the
Mets, Pirates, Cardinals.
Marlins, like
Marlins matters.
a little bit.
They're 5 games behind you this morning. What are you talking about?
I guess, but
What if they come in here and they beat you like they beat you in other years?
that team still is fatally flawed.
All right,
24 games to go, and you keep saying that.
I just don't have to look. I don't look at that one and say, well, I need the Phillies to have it. Because one, I think the Phillies are a better team anyway. Like they're going to have that series. And I also just don't see the Marlins as a playoff team.
How about we do this?
They're a
Look at
half
the
game out this
schedule,
morning.
and if you had to say a series that you're most convinced they will sweep, which ones would it be?
Oh, buddy, they're sweeping the Cardinals in St. Louis. That team's a dumpster fire.
Well, I do not believe that one. I just think that's a crappy place to play. As far as they're very good there, the Cardinals. They
weren't very good there last October
No, they weren't. I would say they sweep the Pirates.
at home there.
That's
The
one.
Pirates, the Pirates, the last home series.
Here's my issue. That might be a little late. They might be already getting guys squared up for the postseason.
Well, I think that's 6 games to go.
They've
They're
got,
a game and a half up on the
No,
Cubs.
the last game of that will be your third to final game.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, and that's, by the way, that's what you're counting on. You're hoping that happens. Because if you do that on a Thursday night, you've got it. You clinch the number 1 spot. Then you have the weekend against the Mets to set the rotation, rest, because you don't play till Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah,
Makes
exactly.
it a little easier. I just look. I keep hearing that from people. Well, these other teams, they're not as good as the Phillies, and they're a game and a half out behind them. They're like they feel. Don't take the Cubs seriously.
I'll continue to tell this until the season's over. It's not about the record. I know the record is a tough thing to put yourself past, but it's about the ceiling of the team. If the Miami Marlins won the World Series this year, like my head would explode. If the Philadelphia Phillies with this roster found a way to win the World Series, I would be pleasantly surprised, but it wouldn't be like my brain is broken on baseball.
I'm gonna tell you that the Marlins. I thought the Marlins would be better this year, and I said it before our season started, but I didn't see the Marlins. Right, the Marlins have 71 wins already.
Yeah,
I mean they're going to be a better than 500 club by the end of the year. That shocks me. That completely shocks me. But it's a byproduct of the Mets sucking.
yeah,
Terribly.
They're a fine baseball team.
And the Phillies not being able to beat them enough.
Some of the other teams in the wild card race are fine baseball teams, but they don't have the ceiling that the Phillies have.
Well, I think the Phillies ceiling is obvious. It's the biggest ceiling.
Yeah,
and it
probably.
should be. It should be when you get the fourth highest payroll in baseball, and these other teams are not coming with half the resources or half the stars, and you're sitting with them. You're still battling with them. That's what annoys the hell out of me. You should be beyond these teams. You shouldn't be in a discussion with
If you're in the American League Central, you're a division leader right now. Like, I don't know. Part of it is you're playing in the division with one of the best regular season baseball teams of all time, and that's what you're constantly compared to. And that's a tough thing.
But you didn't beat up on the Mets. You haven't beaten up on the Mets. You haven't beaten up on the Nationals. And you haven't beaten up on the Marlins.
You still play the Mets like 7 more times.
I understand.
It's baseball. Like, it's going to finish out the way all of us predicted.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not going to be as I predicted because I would have thought that, hey, the Mets were going to be a.
No, we asked about Phillies numbers before the season started, and we all were between 90 and 92, and that's exactly where they're going to finish. Whether it's because the Mets suck, or they got their asses kicked by San Francisco, or this team was good, or the Braves being 40 games over 500, it doesn't matter. That's baseball. We predicted before the season started how many wins the Phillies would have. They're going to fall right there.
I look at it differently. I look at a season differently. I look at when you see opportunities. I didn't expect.
You look at it as wins and losses. You wanted to do all 162 wins and losses.
I didn't expect them to struggle against the Nationals and the Marlins.
Well, then who did they beat that you didn't expect them to beat? That's how it all plays out. You know, I mean, that's baseball.
It doesn't play out like that way for everybody. It doesn't play out there for the teams that are playing really high level baseball. It doesn't. They just find a way to do better against bad teams and mop the floor with them. I think when you spend the fourth highest payroll,
what is different about this Phillies season that you said, all right, before the season started, they're going to get 92 wins. They're going to finish with 92 wins, but it's not the same?
Because the Mets, I expected to be right on their heels. I thought the Mets would be in third and that the Mets would be right on their heels.
But that has nothing to do with wins and with what you predicted.
But it doesn't. But it does, though, Bob. It does. When you have a team that is a wretched dumpster fire like the Mets are, like nobody expected that in baseball. Nobody. Everybody had them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every single ESPN, Fox Sports, Major League Baseball insider had the Mets as a playoff team.
You just said you didn't expect the Marlins to be a playoff or fringe playoff.
No, they're
team.
better. They're better than I expected.
Doesn't that even out? Like it all evens out.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought the Marlins were going to be right there. I thought the Marlins were going to be an improved team this year, but I honestly didn't think they'd win like 83. No, it did not.
Yeah, so doesn't that break even to you?
Not what the Mets have done. The Mets have cratered.
Yeah.
People expected the Mets to win 95.
There was a point where the Mets were behind the Nationals, but then you can also say the Nationals were not a dumpster fire like they have been in previous years. Like, I don't know. It all evens out. If they get to your win total, I don't understand why.
We just have different expectations as far as the presentation. Like, there can be a meal, and it tastes great. But one guy, Chef Bob, can make the meal look just spectacular when it comes to the plate. Chef Connor makes it, and it doesn't look good. It's not as appetizing. But they both taste great. They come out to be, you like the taste of it.
Yeah, so that doesn't matter.
I got it. Being 15 games out in the division matters to me. And I don't care what, you're never going to convince me that it doesn't matter.
Well, you should convince yourself because you're really driving yourself insane.
No, you're never going to convince me that, like,
for the sake of baseball consummation, you should
consummation.
Well, if the presentation was better, you should have predicted that they were going to win 98 or 100.
No, I didn't see what the presentation was. I think the presentation of the 92, I said 92 before the year. They could come close to that. The presentation to me has sucked this year. It's been a bad presentation. You can have a really, really solid presentation where you're fundamentally sound. You run the bases well, all those kind of things. And it would make me feel better about where they are, about the team that they are. I don't just go by that because I think that that it matters. Like, to me, how you win and how you play matters.
Maybe this should be better for you because they've gotten to where you think they were going to be by playing worse than you think they were going to.
And that could be, but the only
higher
thing is,
ceiling.
But I do not believe that they just go, oh, all of a sudden we're going to learn how to run the bases. All of a sudden we're going to learn how to catch fly balls in the outfield. All of a sudden we're going to learn how to have a better eye at the plate. I'm not it's 24 games left.
Yeah.
Am I expecting that October's going to come and it's going to be like, okay, guys, let's play for real. Now we're playing for real.
You don't have to expect it. You just have to understand that is a possibility.
Well, it's always a possibility.
Yeah.
It's a possibility the Flyers can make the playoffs.
And that's it. So we're just going to sit here.
I mean, it's like
no, it's not the same. It's not the same as that. Like,
there's a possibility of anything in sports. That's such a lame answer.
That's not what I'm saying, though. They've shown you that they're capable of doing that.
They did. Yes, in a 3-week period, they did. Last year, they showed me that. They did.
They've shown you that this year. They went from not hitting home runs to hitting the third most in the history of a month of baseball.
You are very optimistic. We'll see in October. We'll see how it all plays out.
I just don't know why we're doom and gloom about a team
It's not doom and gloom. It's not doom and gloom. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win a wild card series. And I think your ceiling and my ceiling, based on what we've seen, is very different. I think they're going to win a wild card series. That's not gloom and doom. If I say they're going to be in the NLDS, how is that gloom and doom? They're the fourth best team in the National League right now.
I feel like the day-to-day with this team, it's just too negative for what they're capable of accomplishing.
What they're capable of, but not what they've shown you. What they've shown you.
I'm utterly confused here. I mean, if we look at a team before a season starts and we ask how many wins are they going to get, you're basing it on how that team is built, on what that team is, on who you have where. I guess you look at it more in depth than I do.
How does the team play? Yes.
Why I'm expecting the Mets to do this. No, I expected 90, 92 wins. However you get there in a 162-game season, that's just who you are.
I didn't expect them to be terrible in the base paths. I didn't expect them to be bad and making stupid plays in the outfield constantly. I didn't expect these kind of things. I didn't expect the starting pitching to be as lame. So it's a different presentation than I expected.
If I owe you $100 and I give you $100, do you care how I got it?
No, I don't care how you got it.
Well, there you go.
I do care.
That's it.
But I'm watching this every day. You just have you got different eyeballs on it. We look, and each people watch things differently.
Yeah.
And if saying they're going to go to the NLDS is gloom and doom, they're going to be in the final 8 teams in baseball, that's ridiculous. That is not gloom and doom. It's just that you're looking at it with the sunshine and lollipops. They did it last year. They can do it again. Sure they can. Absolutely they could. Will they? I think last year was pretty outlandish what they did. It was outlandish. It doesn't happen more than once a decade in baseball. What they did last year. Last time it happened was the Cardinals, where the last team is the team, and they won it all. That Cardinals team won it all.
I think the Nationals did it too when they won back.
But they weren't. Were they the worst team?
They were the final wild card team, I believe.
It is as far as the worst team though in the playoffs. I mean, that is a
of like both.
Yeah, that's I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, coming up, a legend retires, and there are many legends in a business that sometimes inspire you. We'll talk about it next. John Kincade.
Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Mark Schlereth at 7:30. Adam Schefter at 8 o'clock. That's a nice doubleheader for you there. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic as the Eagles begin preparations today. The important practices coming down the stretch here as they get ready for their trip this weekend to New England. By the way, all your favorite Sizzlies, 2 for $5 at Wawa. Try their new pancake sausage sizzly.
Oh, my goodness.
Great morning start at Wawa. That sounds amazing, but how do you hold it?
What do you mean? You hold it with the pancake?
But pancakes, then, if you put fingers on a pancake, isn't it going to break?
No, not if they make it thick enough. You get a nice
I don't want
Fingers on bread and it doesn't break.
No, you
you
know
don't
what?
do it on a pancake.
No, I want Uncle Bill's. I can tell you, we did Uncle Bill's twice down the shore. We did Uncle Bill's in Ocean City the other day, and we did Uncle Bill's in Stone Harbor, I guess it was. Man, he has perfected the pancake. That is a perfect pancake.
It's a treat. We were there probably a couple weekends ago, Uncle Bill's in Ocean City.
Blueberry.
Yeah.
Did you do 40th or did you do 19th?
No, we did 19th because we were
That's
down
what I did
at
too.
friend's house. Yeah. We sat out
That was
back.
awesome.
Oh, it's
Place is great.
Not
Yeah.
a pancakes, man.
You're not a pancake? Wow.
No, there's too much bread in there for me.
I love it.
Unless I load it up with syrup.
Well, you can do that.
Or it's part of like a sandwich, like the sizzly. That's
Man.
fine with me.
You're not putting sauce. You're not putting syrup on a sandwich, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. You've got some interesting tastes.
You want a little sweetness.
All right. Devin wants to know: will Connor and John put money where their mouth is? Something on this on this NLD. I think NLDS right now to me appears to be the ceiling. Do you think
that's the thing? Like, I don't know that they're not better than the Braves, and they're going to play the Braves in the NLDS. So that's the tough part about this argument. I don't think that our final expectations for the team are that different.
No, they're not.
We were one game off
Right.
in win total. We're basically in the same place as far as where we think the season might end up. The only difference is the way you go about like the day-to-day of consuming the baseball is much different to me.
Like Bill Strobel responds on Twitter as he's talking, and he says, you eat with your eyes first. What my eyes see me is not very appetizing with this team. It may taste good.
But they're not
you
food.
eat-
It's baseball.
But you eat with your eyes. But how a team plays still matters to me. But it's interesting because people view it very differently. Some
Yeah.
people feel like you and Bob do. Some people feel like I do. They care. Okay, you want me to believe they're going to win a World Series, and well, I can't see pop-ups dropping in the outfield. I can't see guys getting picked off first. I can't see bad base running.
Yeah, I think people listen to me and expect me to say, oh, they're a lock World Series winner this year. Like,
And you haven't said anything like that.
No, I just think they have a high ceiling. And for me, that gives me a lot of leeway when I look at a game in August, a game in September. Like, I just have more leeway to let stuff go because
You're running out of games.
But they're going to be in the postseason, so you're not. I mean, you're accomplishing what I wanted you to, and if you get to my win total or close to it, I'm happy with that, and I don't care how you play. And it's just a different way of looking at it, so I don't even know what we bet on.
How far they go?
But I wouldn't make a bet.
But are you believing what you're saying, or are you not?
I
Do you believe in
they're-
them?
Believing in their ceiling and saying they're going to reach it are two totally different things.
Well, I believe they could go to the NLCS,
I do too, but I'm not
then
going to
we
bet.
believe the
I'm
same
not
thing.
gonna- exactly.
but I wouldn't bet it.
Me either. We're in the same
Okay,
boat.
so we're
it's
you
just
don't
the
believe it either.
day-to-day way we consume baseball is different.
Hey, Chris Mortensen retired yesterday from ESPN. The second NFL insider, Bob, do you remember the first? First guy that was network TV insider? And a real journalist, a real writer like Mort,
I don't remember.
Will McDonough.
Oh.
He
okay.
sort of brought that. Will McDonough, you wouldn't even know,
No clue.
Connor. Will McDonough was a
Dinner
writer,
with Will
Boston
McDonough one
Boston
time.
Globe?
Yes. Yeah.
He was a writer from Boston, but he became NBC's first insider. So he'd be on and giving stories and things like that. And then Chris Mortensen did it with ESPN. Mort, he was a part of my show in Atlanta for 20-some years. Great dude. Retired. He is a stage 4 cancer patient still today. He's never gotten out of it. And he is a great dude. I respect his style. I respect the way he went about his business. And I really respect the way he retired, Bob. He didn't do fanfare. He just said, oh, by the way, I retired. And I retired a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And nobody knew anything.
Totally appreciate that.
And that's him.
You don't want to be bigger than the game, and that's how he went out, even though he probably was bigger than the game a lot of times. Yeah, total respect. Love his work, love what he did, and love the way he went about it.
He was the Dodgers beat writer and left to be the Braves beat writer. Okay, I think that's sort of crazy. And I would say that to him, is that you were the Dodgers beat writer and you left to be the Braves beat writer because you wanted to be closer to home, closer to family and everything like that, and then took the ride and went different ways. He's covered everything, much like you, Bob. He's covered everything. He's been columnist, been writer.
Yeah.
He's done it all.
Yeah, great career, just
and
phenomenal.
a great dude.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever spoken to him, but I know the stories you've told me. Sounds like a really good dude.
Spectacular. Hey, Frank in Philadelphia joins us. Frank, good morning. 7 o'clock hour of the John Kincade Show begins with you. So you're on the hot seat.
John. Come on with this Atlanta Braves crap. We're not scared of them.
Who said you're scared?
Wild card last year. And what did we do? Come October, red October, this city will be there, and they're not going to let this team down. We are going for it. Come to this city. Don't let it happen. Phillies are going to the World Series, and that's it, John. No more Atlanta love on this station.
Man, Frank, Frank. It's shocking to you that you're just very. So there's no question. They're winning the wild card, beating the Braves. Then what are they doing?
Ready?
So then who are they beating?
They had bad base running. They had that last year. Guess what? We have Bryce Harper. When it comes to a playoff baseball, that guy's going to carry us. Trey Turner's balling. Let's go, Phillies!
Listen to Frank. Frank, I love your enthusiasm. Love his enthusiasm.
Frank's fired up, man.
Frank is fired up.
4 o'clock game today. I hope he makes it.
Seriously. He's got to make it all the way to 4 today. That's going to be a problem. 7 a.m. hour brought to you by the all-new Bet Parks app. Sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So how do you feel today with Zach Wheeler on the mound?
Pretty good. I mean, I'd like to see another strong start by him. He's strung a couple together, but like the more he can give you, the more confident. He's your number one starter in a postseason series.
No question.
So every time he takes the mound, I want confidence built into him being on the mound because he's going to be your number one in a wild card series. If you get enough time, if stuff breaks If stuff breaks the right way, maybe he's your number one starter in a divisional series.
Can't be. If he's won in the wild card series, he can't be the divisional.
Depending on the timing. If you have to go down to the end, maybe he'll be the guy that gets game 1 in Atlanta because you'll throw like 2 guys.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, though.
If he plays game, but the thing is, though, if he pitches game 1 wild card, he cannot pitch game 1.
No, I understand. Okay. I'm saying if
game 2
if he pushes back for that. My bottom line is if you're starting a series with a guy, the more positive you can see from that guy, the better. And not that like he can't get away with a bad start the rest of the way, but he really needs to be good.
He can't have the 3-home run, the 3-run homer.
No,
be his mistake.
And I don't
think he was exceptional last outing. I thought he was really I thought it was his B+ A- type of start. But when you give up a 3-run homer, it really just sort of dings you up. You can't. He's the guy you got to count on.
Yeah, and he's the guy I do count on. He's the guy that when he takes the mound, I have extremely more confidence in than any other pitcher on this team. And he's got to be that. I don't have one right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And look, I talked about this before. Well, 2 weeks ago, talking about, maybe Lorenzen should be your number one starter in the playoffs. He's had a great year. Or, I don't know, Nolan and Wheeler seem to have turned it around. So there's your 1-2. Or Taijuan Walker, I don't know. Maybe he's got to be pushed up. We just don't know. It's all reactionary. It's going to come down to their last 2 and 3 starts.
Did you have any question last year? None. We had none. Wheeler, Nola, there was none.
Yeah.
We don't even we don't have a number 2 starter that we believe in right now. But Nola can maybe flick the switch. Maybe as Bob's saying, he's got 4 starts left. If he goes out there and he pitches really well in 3 of the starts, then you're thinking, okay, maybe he's got it fixed, and for a short period of time, he can deliver.
And let's not forget, they had Wheeler on the shelf for a month last year. He came back and pitched only 3 or 4 starts and was only worked himself up to 6 innings before the playoffs started. So as much as he had a great year last year, we can't say we didn't have questions about him, right? Remember?
No, because of the month shutdown.
I mean, he was coming back. He was building himself up. We were hopeful that he could be the pitcher he was, and he turned out to be. But, if those guys can string together starts like they've had,
it'd be nice to see.
Sure, absolutely.
Hey, I've got 3 numbers that I want to see for Jalen Hurts in the 2023 season. And it is going to be, I think they're all very attainable. But 2 of them are a step forward, 1 of them's a step back. I want to see his first 4,000-yard passing season. A 4,000-yard passing season is not that big a deal. It's not something that people are like, wow, $4,000. 4,500, 5,000 is sort of the new where you go, wow, that's a really, really good year. It only requires him throwing for 299 more yards. So over 17 games, that should be able to be handled by Jalen Hurts. So I want a 4,000-yard passing season out of him. And this one may be a reach. I want his first 30-touchdown passing season. That's 8 more than last year. So every other game, he has to add in a passing touchdown. I think that one is maybe a stretch. But again, a 30-touchdown season is not something for an MVP candidate, is not something that is outlandish, or it's honestly the norm, if not 35, 36, 40. The last one is a step back. I want him to have no more than 600 yards rushing, because that'd be 160 yards less than last year. And he was the best pocket passer in the NFL, completion percentage in the NFL last year from the pocket. I need to see more of pocket Jalen Hurts and less of him putting his body at risk, because we saw in December the last 2 years, he got injured putting his body at risk because of the fact scrambling around. He made good decisions to scramble, but he can't be injured in December. Not with this year's schedule. You cannot, this team in December cannot be looking at, oh, well, we're going to go with, it's going to be Marcus Mariota. You're not going, right now, that is going to be terrible. If you do that, let's say he gets injured the same time he got injured last year. He can miss 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks run. Or he can miss Cowboys, Seahawks. Or 49ers, Cowboys. Can't have it. Jalen Hurts has to be healthy. So I ask him to take a step back in one, but I don't know which is any of them. Are any of them unrealistic?
The 30 touchdowns would be tough. I'd say 28 would be like a really, really nice jump to find 6 more passing touchdowns there.
6 more.
The 4,000 is not too much, and the less running is something that I've been asking for all offseason. So I'm pretty close to where you're at on all of those.
Yeah, and I think if the touchdown passes go up, it's directly tied. It could be directly tied to throwing the ball more to running backs.
And that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, you get down inside the 10-yard line or inside the 15-yard line where they love to run and RPOs with Jalen Hurts being that threat. Well, if you want to take that away from him because you don't want to put the wear and tear on him, I think that's where they're directly related. That maybe he's looking at his backs out of the backfield, different things like that. So I agree with you, Connor and John. Like 28 to 30 is probably a pretty good number. It's going to decrease somewhere else, and it's probably, you're right, John, probably in the rushing yards.
Patrick Mahomes last year, 41.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, 35. Josh Allen, 35. Geno Smith, 30 touchdowns passing. Kirk Cousins, 29. Jared Goff, 29. I don't think it's a lot to say to Jalen Hurts, let's get you in the Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith neighborhood.
It's not, but none of those guys were remotely in the neighborhood of him as far as rushing touchdowns. So it's about also making sure that he can handle that transition. Is the Eagles team still as effective as a team, not just Jalen Hurts, as a team with Jalen Hurts running less? Because we want him to be healthy. But there could be a point this year where you look at it and you say, we've got him in the pocket so much and he's almost feels restricted and he's making less good decisions because he feels like he can't run because the coaching staff brought that up. Like, yes, this is what we want. We just have to we might have to accept the fact at some point that it's not quite how he's ever going to play the game.
We got injured both times, Bob, out of the pocket. So, I mean, again, quarterbacks get injured more in the pocket than they do out of the pocket a lot of times.
Yeah.
So he got injured with that. But it's the idea is that I just want to see less of I want the occasional design run. And less of that. We get enough running backs on this team. If you just throw it in as a curveball a couple times a game where it's a design run for Jalen Hurts, I'm fine. He scrambles extremely well. Like his decision making of when to scramble last year was exceptional.
Yeah, it was.
Remember that Packer game?
Yeah, and prolonging plays and throwing on the run, whatever. His decision making is phenomenal. The people that are against, and I have a friend who isn't a huge Jalen Hurts fan, go back to this all the time. Look at this Eagles offense. How many touchdown passes do you think a Mahomes would throw in this offense? Do you think a Burrows? Do you think
45.
I think Mahomes might throw upwards of 50. Like 50, 2, 3, something like that. So that's the knock that I get on Jalen Hurts. Like, other quarterbacks, okay, but every other quarterback that you mentioned besides Patrick Mahomes didn't go to the Super Bowl last year.
Correct.
That's kind of all that matters. Whether it takes 22, 25, and you're 30 behind the leader in touchdown passes, I don't care. But I will say that it does directly tie to how much do you really want him running throughout his career.
The fourth quarter of that Super Bowl, it gave me it got me through. I would have been pissed off about that Super Bowl if I didn't see that fourth quarter from him.
Yeah, I still kind of am, but I know exactly what you're saying.
When I saw him that drive to tie the game and then the 2-point conversion, he absolutely gave me the faith that, you know what, this guy we might actually have a special, top-notch, top-tier quarterback for a decade.
Yeah, he's different. He's a monster. And you're right. That's kind of where it totally clicked, even though it had over the course of the season. I agree. So I'm not worried about him at all. I see like a Lamar Jackson, and I say people have been talking about him becoming more of a pocket passer for years. But his play style isn't good that way.
His game IQ is not the same.
No, I know. I'm just saying there's certain guys that their value is in the way they currently play the game. So you can change a guy to a certain point, but it can't maybe ever be a full retool for Jalen Hurts. And maybe that's not a bad thing.
We have the premiere of the third season of Speak for Yourself with Bob Cooney. Did we leave him with a cliffhanger in season 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Was there anything like that? This is Speak for Yourself with Bob Cooney. He takes you behind the scenes. He's covered enough of these teams. He's been at enough press conferences. He knows BS from BS. So he'll decipher that for us. Then Mark Schlereth joins us from Fox Sports. He'll join us coming up at the bottom of the hour to preview your Birds. It is game week. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. And the Birds are now 4-point
Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
If you're new to the show, you may not know what Speak for Yourself is. It's Bob Cooney, who is the journalist among us, the only one of us that can ever use that term, that he was a journalist. Being able to sort of decipher, read between the lines, BS that comes out of the press conferences every week. We love this. It is a third season premiere of Speak for Yourself with Bob Cooney.
And now it's time for Bob Cooney's Speak for Yourself. Here's Bob.
It's all Nick Sirianni on the dais, and that's where he was yesterday, and that's all the questions went to. So the first one that I wanted to address here, he was asked about Matt Patricia and his familiarity with New England, and if that's something that Nick Sirianni kind of dug into going into this game.
You try to turn over every stone that you possibly can, looking for answers and different things. So, like I said, anybody that's been around Coach Belichick, you're always asking questions about whether it's scheme or whether it's coaching philosophies. I've just always been fascinated by him and his coaching tree. So, again, like I said, Brian Dable, big mentor to me. And then just how big of a help Coach Patricia's been to me as well, just with general coaching philosophies and also, scheme-wise. Of course, you're going to look for every advantage you can get. That's what we're doing this week.
And you can look at that and say, yeah, no bleep, no
It's
crap.
Bill Belichick.
Okay, great. But what I really like about Nick Sirianni is that while I think he's a very confident coach, and sometimes he overplays it a little to my liking, the taunting of fans and stuff like that, and going to the cameras, he's still very openly acknowledging that he's still learning as a coach, that he wants to try to get everything he can from other coaches, other assistant coaches, try to absorb as much because he's still a young coach. I really enjoy that about him, and I hear it more and more all the time. And the way he references different things that quickly, it's not BS. It's truly what he believes. All right, the second thing I wanted to get into was he was asked about situational offenses and just how different things come about. Maybe it's something that a defense didn't show on film, and how do you adapt to them?
You have to be ready for things that they didn't put on tape. And so what you're trying to do in walkthroughs specifically is recreate that as much as you can. Hey, what stops this play? Well, this can stop it, this can stop it, this can stop it, and this can stop it, whatever it is, right? And you try to say, all right, well, this is in their scheme, show them that. But then you're also trying to pick and choose, like, well, they could do this. They haven't shown that on tape, but they could do it. Because that's been my experience with when we've been successful on offense, is that you have to expect unexpecteds. One thing I talked about in our roles to the guys is like, hey, Jason Kelce and Jalen Hurts, there's nobody else in this world I want to handle the unexpecteds other than you guys out there on the field.
Now, there's a couple of things. One is I'd never heard the word unexpecteds before.
I never heard that either.
That's cool. That's cool that he's inventing words. I like that. But I do love that. You can look to run plays the way you want to and the way you expect the defense to react. But when he's going second level like that, and I'm sure a lot of coaches do it, and I have seen it, but the attention to detail with him, when he first came here, it was like, okay, a little scratch on the surface. Okay, this guy's attention to detail oriented. But now the more he talks and the more he goes over, and the preparedness that this team seems to have, I think it's another impressive quality about him. And the more, like, I'm the kind of guy, as you guys know, I'll stand back and take in stuff before I applaud or thumbs down or whatever. This guy really has my attention. Like, I'm standing there with my arms crossed and really watching in as much detail to him as anything else about this football team.
He's very poised, which is surprising because he's frenetic. He's poised. His thinking, his mind, seems to be very in control.
I think because he's that prepared. You can't BS yourself. You can't BS your way through things without people picking it up in this town. You can't. I mean, it's just impossible. And when anybody tries it, they're caught. A coach, whoever it may be, he's not, because this is what he truly believes, and this is where he truly works. And I have been nothing but impressed by this guy so far. I will say that. All right, last thing here is he was asked about roles and how you approach it. Now, roles being, it could be the starting quarterback, the biggest role. It could be, a guy that's going to be the gunner on punt returns, whatever. But he's asked about how he approaches talking to players about their roles.
There's nothing worse than when you don't know exactly what you're supposed to do and what the job description is. So it starts there with the play. Like, hey, the job description has to be very clear. This is what you're going to do. Here's what we expect you to do. Here's a standard of what we expect you to do against this look, this look, this look, every different thing they can get. My thought process is, why would I do anything different when we talk about the roles on the team? And my whole point of roles is not everybody's role is the same, but everybody's role is important.
All right, we skipped one. We have one more after this, but I love that. I love that a coach will go to a guy, if he's the 53rd guy, and say, okay, come here, I need to talk to you. Your role is just as important as Jalen Hurts. Now, you're not going to believe me because Jalen Hurts is making $500 million over the next 5 years and blah, blah, blah. But if you're not there when I need you to be, and no better example than the Super Bowl last year. I mean, if you labeled guys 1 through 53 on that Super Bowl, Siposs is probably number 53 on most of our lists.
And he let us down.
Yet, he may have been the most important player because of a bad play in that game. So I love, and again, an attention to detail type of thing. I just think it's really cool. It might be overbearing for some, and I understand that.
I think he's impressive.
It's my alley. Like I like where this guy goes with it. All right, the last thing. This really is the last thing. He talks about the running back room, and it might be the biggest question we have going into this season as far as how things are going to be handled there.
It's a deep group, and we'll see how it goes. The running back room can be either way, right? It can be by committee. It can be with one guy that's taking all the carries or majority of the carries. And so we'll see how it plays out. I could say it's by committee, and then somebody gets hot, and we stick with them. We'll see how it plays out. But what I love is the depth in that room and the capabilities of the guys in that room. That gives you some flexibility and some abilities to say we're not predictable going in because they all have a very wide, broad skill set.
Now, he kind of contradicts himself in this, where he says, I can say it's by committee, and then somebody gets hot, and we stick with them. Well, that's what by committee kind of is, So
one game it's a Gainwell game. One game it's a you're going to go Swift
or even series.
Right, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, say they come out, and this is one thing that I didn't like when Deuce Staley was here and all. You had Miles Sanders as your number one back, and you would start a second half. And boom, there's Boston Scott in the backfield. I didn't understand that. I didn't love it. This year, I'll understand it a little bit more because I don't think they have that alpha number one running back. But if Sirianni is true to his word, if somebody has a really good first half, I think they're probably going to ride him in the second half, and we're not going to see that, oh, wait, why isn't he in the game? I don't think we're going to have that question all that much.
He doesn't get questioned a lot for an Eagles coach.
Yeah.
And after the initial 2-5 start,
right,
he has not been questioned much. It's been wow, he's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
And we rarely say that in this town anytime.
It's hard to question a guy when, 2 years in, he goes to a Super Bowl, has the dominance that they had last year, and he's an offensive-minded guy, and this offense is pretty fun to watch.
Hey, Mark Schlereth will join us coming up here at the bottom of the hour. I want to tell you, if you have basement or crawl spaces smelling musty, or you have watermarks on the block walls, you need to get a completely free home inspection from the experts. Call BQ Basements and Concrete because the problem's only going to get worse. I love that because I love hearing his thought process. And there was something interesting there, and I think it relates to the Phillies before Mark joins us. I think that he says about the players knowing their roles and knowing their place and knowing that. I think that's what Rob Thompson doesn't do. I think that's what the Phillies don't have. You never know. It's haphazard. There's much more structure within. Now, it's football and baseball. There's two different things. But I think guys' roles, guys starting, who's doing this. I think with Rob Thompson, it's very erratic. We don't know, why are you doing what you're doing now, and why'd you do something different when you did it last week? Did you learn from a mistake? Did you think it's just to me? There's stability with Sirianni that I don't find with Rob Thompson.
So I think when you're comparing stability in baseball and football, I think you have to just go to playoffs in baseball.
Okay.
Is Rob Thompson going to shuffle lineups in in the 16 games, 17 games, we'll just say that. In a 17-game playoff run, say if the Phillies have that, is he going to be switching guys in and out? Is Stott going to sit? Are you going to have a different center fielder, left fielder all the time? Probably not. So that's something, it's a good point you make. It's something you have to look out for come the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
is there stability there with Rob Thompson?
I've heard Ricky talk about it with Jim Fregosi. Said you knew exactly where you stood, you knew exactly what was required of you, you knew exactly what your role was and how things were going to bounce around.
Fregosi was a so-so manager.
And he was. I think he was too. And he did the exact same thing that Rob Thompson's done. The lightning in a bottle, take a team to the World Series. And I just like stability of knowing what you're expected to do. What's the role? How does it work? And with Nick Sirianni, they've done a damn good job of it. We look forward to going to the Comcast Business Hotline because every day in business is a big day. And Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. We are thrilled when we get to talk NFL football with my man Mark Schlereth, who was kind enough to join us early in Colorado, not needing a gummy to do it either, which is really impressive. Mark Schlereth joins us now. Hey, what's up, Mark?
How you doing, Johnny, man? It's good to hear your voice.
I'm doing good. Just getting ready for an Eagles season where it's very uncomfortable for us in a way because of the fact that we're not used to the Eagles being the dominant pick, the overwhelming favorite, that this team looks so loaded. We tend to look for the warts. We tend to look for the things that, derail a team. When you look at the Eagles from the outside and you've covered a lot of their games and you know their coaching staff and you know their talent, what do you see?
Well, I see a team that is exceptionally well coached. And, as much as we made fun of Nick, and I even had, I even challenged him to a rock, scissors, papers game, which he kicked my ass in, by the way. Make it goofing on him and all that stuff. Done a phenomenal job. And what they did last year, obviously was absolutely incredible. Now they've lost they lost their two coordinators. That's going to hurt some. You always have that when you are a successful team. Everyone wants to, pick you off, right? Take your people. So that's going to be something you're going to have to overcome. But I think they're exceptionally well coached. And then what Howie Roseman has put together from just a depth standpoint and continuing to attack in depth positions of strength is incredible to me. I think one of the things that happens to you from an attrition standpoint as a football team, as you build a football team, is you tend to ignore positions of strength and you go after, positions of weakness. And that's kind of how the draft works. And what ends up happening is if you miss on those positions of weakness, you continue to attack those. You continue to chase those, those positions. You continue to go after those people. And what ends up happening to you is those positions of strength then become weaknesses. Guys age out, guys go on free agent, they leave as free agents. And the next thing, you look at an offensive line that's dominant and you're like, oh man, we haven't replaced these guys. We haven't replaced this guy. And that's one thing I look at them, both lines of scrimmage. I think they're exceptionally talented. They're big, they're physical, they can beat you anyway. They can play any style of game you want to play, whether it's a finesse style, whether it's a physical style. I think that's one of the big things. And this is interesting, John. So the Seahawks called me up and asked me to do their last preseason game. And so they invited me out to Seattle to, hang out at the facility, watch practices, kind of be involved. And then I did their last preseason game. And I had a long talk with their GM, John Snyder. And one of the things he said is everybody right now is trying to mimic, to copy Philadelphia, especially on the defensive front, with not only the size and the speed and athleticism, but the depth. He goes, they rotate 8 guys. And the ability to keep those guys fresh, the ability to have those guys play at a really high tempo throughout the entirety of 4 quarters, it's something that now everybody looks at. San Francisco does that as well. So I think it's one of those things where they have been so successful, they are so strong, they are so good, that everybody's looking at them kind of as a model franchise. Here's how you build a team.
Mark, you mentioned so many strengths of this Eagles team. When you look at them as a whole, what is the biggest strength that this team has, and what do you think could help, the biggest reason could help carry them to another Super Bowl appearance?
I think that when you look at them up front on their offensive line, I think one of the things that makes them so hard to defend with their O-line and their quarterback, their tight ends that can block, I look at them and think to myself, it's almost like Globo Gym. We're better than you, and we know it. And how do you want us to beat you? Like they are so versatile up front, and with their QB and what Jalen Hurts did last year, remarkable. Just a fun kid to talk to, fun kid to be around, and to watch the growth and maturity. The coach's son. We all know the storylines. But do you want us to play the finesse game? Do you want us to play the pin and pull, get our center out on the edge, get guards out on the edge, get tackles movement? We can do that. You want to just line up and play old-fashioned duo? Old-fashioned just smash mouth? We can do that. We can play the zone game. We can play the RPO game. We can do there is nothing we aren't capable of. And most teams that are smash mouth, like downhill teams, they don't have the ability, they don't have the athleticism to get out in the pin and pull on the edge and exploit the running game to the edge, the nickel 19 toss and 18 toss and all that stuff. They can do any of that. So, pick your poison. You want to play us big? Okay, we'll out finesse you. You want to play us small? We'll just bludgeon you to death. Like that to me is their ability. They are not dialed in or tied in to any one specific thing. They can do multiple things over the course of any weekend. And that's one of the things to me that makes them so incredibly difficult to contend with.
Fox Sports NFL analyst Mark Schlereth joining us on the John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mark, there's one thing that people always talk about is that, okay, the schedule's going to be tougher this year. It's going to be tougher. They got a harder run. But they're like, oh, wow. And I look at how Dallas, with Dallas is their number one competitor in the division, it would look like. But Dallas plays the 49ers on the road, the Bills on the road in December, the Dolphins on the road. The Eagles get all those games at home. But I'm being told that the Eagles' schedule is tougher than Dallas's, I guess because of the fact that they're playing the same teams. Tell me how much it matters playing those games at home, your biggest games of the year being at home.
Obviously, it's huge. One, you don't have to travel, especially if you have one of those Thursday night games. That's big. A huge advantage. But just being at home, the familiarity of being at home, playing in front of the home crowd, especially on offense, not having to deal with crowd noise. So that all your checks and you can run anything from a check with me package, a kill it package. So that way you can put yourself in the best possible position to have success. Like that stuff is obviously very important. And there's a reason there's a home field advantage, right? You just are comfortable there. So having those games at home is big. The other thing about that whole strength of schedule is, I get it soft last year. Well, what if we see the teams that go from first to worst? We see the one injury away, especially in today's game. The way they keep rosters together is, I call it the 80-20 rule, John. So 80% of your guys make 20% of the money, and 20% of the guys make 80% of the money. And so what has happened is you have a league of the haves and the rest of us. And what ends up happening is you lose a starter or two to injury, and you're playing rookies and first-year guys that don't know how to play, that aren't making any money, because that's how they manipulate the roster and how they get all that cap money. Is there's a bunch of dudes that they keep that can't play, and they know they can't play, but they're paying everybody else. So ultimately, you miss a couple of dudes, and you go from being really good to being very average pretty quickly, with just 3 or 4 injuries can really derail a team's ability. And so that's one of the big issues. So you never know with that whole strength of schedule thing. I mean, every year is its own year, just like when you're calling a game. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into the game thinking this is exactly what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen, and none of it happens. And you're like, well, chalk that one up. You got to call the game that's in front of you, not to call the game. You can't call the game that you thought was going to happen. You got to call the game that's happening. So it's really interesting, and I don't put a lot of merit into the strength of schedule stuff.
Mark, when you mentioned the strength of the defensive line when it comes to the Eagles' defense, but then right behind them, the linebacking core is something that they haven't really addressed all that much. Nakobe Dean's going to step in his second year, having not played hardly at all last year. How do you feel about that group there with him and Zach Cunningham appearing to be the starters?
Yeah, I think that's always one thing that you will look at, and, you've got to make your decisions again from a money standpoint of how we're going to play that. They're so big and so talented and have such a great rotation up front with the D-line that I think you can get away with that a little bit. I think the biggest thing for me when it comes to linebacker play in today's game is guys with their ability to cheat zones and in pass protect, or excuse me, in defending the pass. And the great ones have this ability, when they're taking their drops, to get an extra 2 or 3 yards width and 3 or 4 yards depth, and still be able to, to drive on a shallow cross and tackle it for 3 yards and keep the offense behind the chains. And so they take away that deeper intermediate route, but they still can play the shallow stuff and just have a great sense for it. So I look at that position. It's changed to a degree. You got to be such an athlete. You got to run. It's not necessarily about, being a big run stuffer and all that stuff. So as long as you have that athleticism, and I think the biggest thing for me watching these guys play in today's game is spatial awareness in the passing game. You've got great spatial awareness and you can move. Good things can happen to you. The one guy that we got here in Denver, it's been an absolute disaster, watching this team. But the guy that I told everybody was going to be the best player on our defense, I was just like, well, maybe not the best player, but one of the best players on the defense is Alex Singleton. And you guys know Alex Singleton. He was a guy that they never wanted to start, but always ended up being the starter and always ended up making a bunch of tackles. The dude has been absolutely unreal, and it's because of those reasons. He's just got great football awareness. He's really, he can run, and he's got great football awareness, and he's been really good here in Denver behind probably PS2. He's been the second best player on this defense. So fun to watch, and you just hope that one of those guys establishes himself like N'Kobe Dean would establish himself like Alex Singleton has been able to do here.
Got to check out the Stinkin' Truth podcast, too, which people can say via YouTube. Be able to check some of that out, too. So Mark's got that for you. Not only do you get him when he comes and does an Eagles game for us, but there's one question I want to ask before we let you go. Russell Wilson supposedly told the Eagles he was not interested in coming here, or his representatives. If he had ended up here with Nick Sirianni, back with the old regime, so as far as how they ran things, do you believe he would have been successful here?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think Russell, like every player, there are things that we do well and there are things that we don't do well. And I think Russell thought that he could do everything well. And I think last year was a real learning experience, basically saying, hey, there's certain things that you just aren't very good at, and stay in your lane. And, and you can be a future Hall of Famer even if you're not good at a couple of things. And so that was the experience. I think if he did, or if his representatives did tell Philly that he didn't want to be there, it's because he doesn't think of himself as, hey, zone read, RPO,
right.
let's run some quarterback runs. Like, he thought he was Drew Brees, and he's not. And so, which is okay. There's plenty of things he can do well. And I think one of the big things is having an adult come in and coach this team, and Sean Payton basically saying, hey, you don't get to have your own individual quarterback coach in our building. Hey, you're not going to game plan and give me ideas for how I should attack the team. That's my job. You do your job. You stay in your lane. I'll stay in my lane. And it has been a breath of fresh air this off season, because I think what you're going to see is Russell Wilson getting back to the things he does well, some of the things that made him so successful in Seattle. So I think that's a good thing for us here in Denver. But, I don't think it would have worked there, because I think he would have, rebelled against the things that Nick does, and the things that he wants to do with an athletic quarterback.
I'm predicting you will be coming into town for the Commanders game.
When is it?
It's Commanders? October 1st. It's the fourth game of the year here in Philly. Maybe you get that game. Maybe you get the Rams game on the 8th. Because I don't think those are going to be marquee. So we'll look forward to hearing you soon, talking about our Eagles.
I look forward to it as well. I love coming to Philly, and I love doing an Eagles game. They're a lot of fun to watch.
All right, I look forward to seeing you. Thanks, Mark.
All right, buddy. Take
Love
care.
you, buddy. Take care. Mark Schlereth, join us on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day, and Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. Most of the time, we're going to be getting we're going to get a lot of the top team. Kevin Burkhardt.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get a lot of that. We'll get the Sunday night team. We'll get the Monday night team and everything. But I'm looking at games like the Commanders, the Rams, where you might have a chance to do that. But then you look
the
at
third and fourth stringers. Is that what you're saying?
You get the second team, the third team, the fourth team, whatever it is. There's games they try to shake them around, but looks like it's going to be a pretty good year there for the strength of schedule thing always bothers me.
Why is that?
Because they do not take into consideration strength of schedule when they do the calculation. They do not take into consideration where you play them. It's not in the strength of schedule. So Dallas plays at the 49ers. Dallas plays at Buffalo on December 17th. Dallas plays at Miami on Christmas Eve. The Eagles play all those games at home. And those are three of the toughest games in your schedule, and you're playing them at home. That matters, but the strength of schedule calculation does not take that into consideration.
You are such a stat boy. I love it.
Am. But they don't take it into consideration. I'm like, okay, you have to. You have to take into consideration how a team plays at home and on the road.
You're not wrong. It's just it's funny that's a focus of yours. It's very on brand for you. I love it.
It drives me crazy. That it's like strength of schedules. Like the Eagles have the toughest schedule. I'm like, really? I don't see it that way.
It's like wins and losses.
Well, that's more like just.
I think we got a break, Bob.
That's what, Bob. I mean, we wish we had time for it.
Yeah,
we'll try it off air.
We wish we had time.
Good, we'll bring it on.
We already
if
did it
Hurts
once.
Gets hurt at the first game of the season and is out. They have the toughest schedule in all of the NFL.
That'd be terrible.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Hey, there is someone who returned to town under the cloak of darkness. Sounds sort of dark to me that he's coming back too. It's a dark storyline. John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I want to do a shout-out to the great part of my household. Dependable, efficient, a great job day in and day out. No, I'm not talking.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show rolls along. We're rolling up to Adam Schefter coming up at the top of the hour. He's going to join us 20 minutes early this week. Great to hear from Mark Schlereth, who obviously is a... Does it make you feel better when like a national analyst just is like, look, this team's really, really good and loaded?
Normally, yes, but with this team, I mean, we all know.
You just gotten too used to it?
Like everybody knows. I don't know. If you're dating a girl that you think is kind of pretty, and someone's like, wow, your girlfriend's hot. Great. If you're dating a Victoria's Secret supermodel and someone tells you your girlfriend's hot, you're like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I understand.
Everyone knows. The Eagles are a Victoria's Secret supermodel of football teams.
I'm kind of getting nervous with this stuff, though. There's nothing to see here. Okay.
That everything's...
All right.
It is, though, when you hear somebody like they're trying to copy the Eagles method. People are trying to match up with what the Eagles are doing. I mean, that's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. That, to me, is as impressive as hearing about the roster. Hearing that other franchises are trying to model themselves after the Eagles. I love that one. I got you, though, Bob.
I was surprised.
I got you on that.
When Schlereth said other teams are copying Eagles, I was surprised where he went with it. I didn't know if he was going to go quarterback play with RPOs, that they want to get two number one receiver, whatever it may be. He went defensive line. So that...
all the depth, all the rotation.
Yeah, but it's still there's a lot of unknowns there. I mean, in Jordan Davis and all that stuff, you have a lot of young guys, Carter, all that. You have young guys and a few guys coming off career years, as we talked about yesterday. So I wouldn't set it in stone as much as some people are so far. I think it's a strength of the team. Schlereth went with it's the biggest strength of the team. So that's how interesting this team probably is this year.
Hey, all your favorite Sizzlies are 2 for $5 at Wawa. Try the new pancake sausage Sizzly. Great morning start at Wawa, and Connor was all in on that one. He thought that was great. So
oh, yeah.
We'll have Adam Schefter joining us here at the top of the hour. So, Connor, somebody returned last night under cloak of darkness, and I happen to, I can't sleep, especially night before treatments, just can't sleep. So I'm scrolling. I go, are you kidding me?
I know.
He's back?
I had to rub my eyes a little bit because I was about to go to bed before the Phillies game was over because they were getting smoked. So I was like, all right, I'm getting into bed and everything's settling down. I'm scrolling through Twitter one last time to see who's yelling at me for being a Phillies fanboy. And I see a tweet about Danny Green being signed by the Sixers. I'm like, what year is it? Did I just time travel? It was kind of a weird night in the NBA. There were a couple signings. Christian Wood went to the Lakers. I don't know why there was just this pop at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time last night, but
11 p.m.
Yeah. Or sorry, did I say 11 a.m.? My bad. Again, time traveling. But yeah, Danny Green's back. And frankly, I don't know how to react to this at all. I don't know. I guess I
do. How about that?
Bob, that's great analysis on your part.
I would ask you to go a little bit deeper over there, Bob.
What are you doing? What? Seriously, what are you doing?
I have no idea.
36 years old, a standstill shooter, a guy that has to run to a spot, catch the ball, and can shoot. Okay, but you're getting older for a coach that wants to move
constant
more.
Movement.
Danny Green, great. I loved him. He great standstill shooter. Get to your spot, stand there, catch the ball, shoot. You don't have a point guard to really run the team right now, as it appears. You're getting older on a team that you want to move more. I don't. What is going on with this team right now?
I have no idea. Unless is he supposed to be another bridge of buddies with supposedly gets along with James Harden?
It's another thing. Familiarity thing. Is
that what this is?
I don't know. Is there a familiarity thing again with Daryl Morey wanting to bring in a guy that's A, familiar with the city, or B, that, I don't know, players are familiar. He's 36 years old, coming off an injury.
Remember, Danny Green ducked out of town after taking the shot that we were being too tough on Ben Simmons. That this fan base really was too tough on Ben Simmons. Can't wait till Danny Green's back, so he has a chance to answer that one.
I don't think people even care about that anymore. Like Ben Simmons is gone and forgotten.
No, I mean him though. He was ripping us.
Yeah,
he ripped this fan base about that we did something to Ben Simmons. We didn't give him enough support. We were being too tough on him.
I'm just saying. To me, I don't even know if I'd ask him about that.
Really?
It was 2 years ago.
But he's coming home.
Yeah, honest to God, John. When I first saw this last night, the first thing that popped into my head is, oh wow, is he signing here to retire? Like one of those, I'm signing with the Sixers and retiring.
Really?
Swear to God. And then I thought, he wasn't here long enough.
No, he won rings other places.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't come here.
I don't understand it a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know.
That scares me because I was really hoping that you would have something positive on
you know
this,
what he is, but does that fit into what you're doing and where? I understand this team needs 3-point shooters. Maybe they're going for the over 36-year-old. Let's get guys that can stand in corners and shoot threes because you have one in P.J. Tucker, and that's all he can do. Now you have another one in Danny Green at 36 years old, coming off a knee injury, probably all he can do.
I have no idea. This team
5
is
centers and guys 36 and over that can stand still and shoot threes.
So
Why
old.
not? Let's get nuts.
This team is so old. They're just old. They're old. They're built old. I don't know what's going on. Unless you're just saying, are they sending you a message that it's one last rodeo and then we're going to tear this thing?
Well, if it's one last rodeo, the cowboy you're rolling out with is almost dead. These guys are on their last legs in the league.
No, I'm talking about one last rodeo with Joel Embiid.
Well, you better put together a better effort than that. This isn't good enough.
Because he is not going to be here. If this team is crappy this year, he's going to ask out.
What does Danny Green bring?
Oh my gosh!
I was hoping Bob would have something where it's like, oh well, he actually does this little bit well, and I liked what he did.
It's no secret what he does, and he's a terrific shooter when he's standing still and can catch a ball open and shoot the ball. Is this team built to get a ball to a guy like that? And don't you already have one of those in P.J. Tucker? That's the only thing he can do offensively is go stand in a corner, catch and shoot. Oh, let's get another one of them. Oh, and it's cool that he's over 35 years old. I honestly don't understand it.
I can't think Nick Nurse wants this move. I can't.
I don't think they make it without it.
Exactly.
Without his.
But what I know about, and I've been trying to read everything. I've even been reading his book, trying to read about Nick Nurse's philosophy. Danny Green doesn't fit it. I don't understand it.
If you had a young team that was running, I'll tell you what, if you had prime Ben Simmons, for example, and you have a team where you have an outlet guy, a guy that can go a little bit more than Harden does, because Harden is dribble happy, we know that. Well, then, okay, I sort of understand it. Young team, get an older guy who's an extremely good shooter. Okay, but with this team?
No, I don't get it. But listen to Connor. Get crazy.
Yeah, let's get wild. Now, does it make any semblance of sense if James Harden comes back and plays? Does he fit then? Or
no, because they want to run. They want to move.
I got you, but Harden he did lead the league in assists last year. Maybe they're saying, hey, James, if you come back, we're getting you shooters to try and make your job easier. I don't know, man. I'm grasping at straws back here.
He was so tired last year. He couldn't even move up the floor. He had to walk up the floor.
Who?
James Harden in game 6 and 7. He had no legs. He said, I don't understand it. Because Nick Nurse, if he plays like we expect, Nick Nurse is going to break the wheels off him because he's not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, it just seems odd. James Harden prime, where his outlet passing is still elite, but I don't know. I have no idea what this means.
Adam Schefter's brought to us every week by my friends at Landis Block and Concrete. They helped us create our beautiful jaw-dropping backyard paradise in 95 degrees. We're not using it as much, but it's going to be great. We appreciate Landis Block for their fine patronage, and he joins us on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. Adam Schefter joins us a little early today, and happy football eve, Adam.
John, Bob, happy football season to everybody. It is upon us. It kicks off tomorrow night. It's here. There's no doubt about it, and it looks like it has the chance, and we always say chance, to be a great season if you're a Philadelphia Eagles.
I love it. Do you believe that this I'm looking at it where people are almost talking about the chalk from last year, except for the Jets, that things sort of look the same in the NFL. Like, we're not going to have many outsiders except if it's the Lions.
And that is never the case.
Correct.
If it happens, it would be one of the rare times it does. It just, everybody bases it off last year because that's what's freshest in our minds. And I'm just telling you, I don't know whether it's Seattle or Cleveland or Miami or the Chargers or the Broncos, but there are going to be teams that rise up that people aren't expecting. There just always are. And there are going to be teams that sink down that people aren't expecting because it just never stays the same. And there are injuries that happen along the way that we don't forecast. And teams get rolling. Basketball, I think, is a little bit more predictable than football. And every year you start it out and you think you have the answers and you think you know how it's going to go. And like Jim Morris said, you think you know, but you don't.
Kind of on that end, Shefty, we were just talking about the Sixers signing Danny Green and head scratching. We don't know what it means or why they did it. Was there anything in the NFL this offseason that really made you scratch your head or say, wow, what are they doing? And I don't want to say it's come to fruition, but you're still kind of questioning it now?
Well, I think that I could tie that to what's going on right now a little bit, just in the sense that I don't recall seeing a rush from players to sign contracts before training camp began, the way we did this year. And I don't recall seeing this many unresolved contractual situations this close to the season. Like, we've got two guys who aren't even in camp, which in this day and age, with the collective bargaining agreement being what it is and fines being there, Chris Jones, Nick Bosa, not even there. Brian Burns, the great Panthers pass rusher, is there but not really practicing. The season's going on. We're still waiting for new deals for Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and others. Like, there are a lot of unresolved contractual issues, and I'm surprised that some guys aren't there, and I'm surprised they're still going on, and I'm surprised we saw the number of deals get done before camp, and I'm surprised that with all those deals that we saw get done, that we still have the number of questions that we do. How's that?
Do you have a lot of questions about the Philly Dogs, as they're sort of being called, the Georgia Bulldog players? And because there is so much hype right now regarding a Jalen Carter, regarding other. Do you believe her?
Worries me. That's the part that worries me.
You and Bob.
I mean, it just everybody's expecting so much from them, and it's almost such a foregone conclusion that they're going to win the division and go back to the playoffs and have this great play. And it just because they did last year doesn't mean they will this year. And so, look, and that's why when I first came on, I said, it has the chance. It has the chance to be a great football team, because it does, because they're loaded, because they seem to be a really good team. But still got to go out, play the game, still got to be healthy, still got to make sure nothing unexpected happens. Don't know what ever could go wrong in football. There's so much that happens. But, yeah, are all the pieces in place? Yes. Should they be great? Yes. Are they going to be? Likely, but not a given.
So, Shefty, I want to narrow that window a little bit. Give us if you can, kind of a scouting report on these New England Patriots and what Eagles fans who haven't, really dived in, what they can expect to see this Sunday.
Well, it's an interesting question because I think New England's real issue, was on the offensive side of the football. And they went out and they made a big move in getting Bill O'Brien back. And I think that was a big deal to get him back there. That is no doubt going to help the offense. And, I think there's just some playmakers. They went out and they did add Zeke Elliott, Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they're going to get back to leaning on the tight ends. But they should be, typical New England type team, tough out, defense, special teams, all that. So a winnable game, but not going to be an easy matchup at all.
We'll put you on hold for a second. We're putting you on hold for a second because we're getting some bad feedback there. Connor can maybe get you on a better line there. Adam Schefter joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Thanks to our friends at Landis Block and Concrete, where you can create your own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. I wonder if the journalist in Adam Schefter and the journalist in Bob Cooney are having that same thought process. That whole thing of like, okay, everything sounds great. Everything's loaded. Everything's just a foregone conclusion.
Well, because rare doesn't happen that way. Rare do the favorites win. So.
And we go back to Adam on the line there. You were doing like a Charlie Brown's teacher a little bit there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I apologize about that.
It's all right.
Obviously, bad sales on. What I was starting to say was, the Patriots, they're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to make mistakes. They went out and added Bill O'Brien, which I think is going to make a big difference for that offense. And the interesting thing to me is, Jeffrey Lurie, when he first purchased the Eagles, he viewed the Patriots as the role model, as the Holy Grail, as somebody that he wanted to build his organization to be like. And I think over time he's done that. I mean, they've become a little New England-like, in the fact that, they should be good every year. They're going to have a chance, good roster, all those things. So I think that what he admired, he has helped imitate and duplicate.
I know that one of the things we keep hearing, though, is, and I wrote a piece yesterday for our website about don't buy into the New England hype, because we got people telling me, oh, well, New England, Bill Belichick's had a whole offseason to prepare for the Eagles. And I'm like, he's lost the last two home openers the last 2 years. His team's the best he starts, he hasn't started a season with a winning record through his first 4 games at home since Tom Brady left. I mean, It's not like, and also, too, hasn't he always sort of looked at September as like an extension of training camp a little bit? I've heard that.
Well, I don't know that it's an extension of training camp. I don't think he looks at it like that, but I think you recognize that there are still kinks being worked out. You're still getting players, some of the young guys up to speed. You're still working through some things that, you're not running the way you typically would be later in the season. And I don't think he views it as an extension of training camp. He wants to try to turn around those results. But, look, he's got to do better than he's done recently here, and I think he knows that.
Shefty, I'm going to take Jalen Hurts out of the equation. If I were to ask you who is the most important Eagle for them to be successful, to have as much success as people are anticipating so far, who would it be?
I might go to, how about Jordan Mailata? How about that as a left tackle? Because that to me is so important and vital. Got to have those guys up front. You could take either of the tackles, Mailata or Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would have an issue with either of those guys. Pass rush is so important, but there's so many guys that they have there, right? Like, I mean, if unfortunately they lost one of them due to injury, then they just have so many of those guys rotating in and out. Would it be A.J. Brown, Dallas? I'm just trying to go through in my mind.
Right.
I just think the offensive line is always so vital, so it's easy to lean back on one of the great tackles.
Fair enough.
If the Eagles, could they be better than last year, in your opinion? Because last year was pretty special. 14 and 3, and they...
Let me say this.
Yeah.
Let me say this. You lose some key players. Yes, you got some great young blood in there that's also going to be tremendous. Schedule seems to be a lot tougher this year. Everything went well. Other than Jalen Hurts' injury, they were very healthy last year. Could they be that good or better? Sure. The chances are they're not going to be, just because everything seemed to go right. And that's what I keep coming back to, and I don't mean to be the voice of gloom or doom or anything like that, but just it's so hard to be so good year after year, and they were so good last year. And they had the chance to be so good this year. But I guess, maybe it's just the glass half empty nature of me, even though I'm not really like that. Like, okay, well, what can go wrong? What would go wrong? What would prevent them from being the type of team that you and the rest of that city want them to be this year? And there are some of these things we just can't predict. They're just out there. They're just factors.
We are excited for the start of the season, and I know you are too, and you're traveling, getting yourself all ready for this.
Well, the great part is, again, we all look at it the way it is. We're doing Sunday Countdown in Bristol this year, so after doing it in New York City for the last few years, we're back to Bristol, and then the first Monday night game of the year is in New Jersey, so that's like a home game.
Sure.
And then weeks 2 and 3, we have double headers on Monday Night Football. We're doing them from Bristol because it's easier to focus on that. And then week 4, we're back at MetLife for the Giants and Cowboys. So my first road trip, plane trip, first time I get on a plane for Monday Night Football this year isn't till October, which is...
That's good for you and the family. They'll get to see you. So
that's great. Well, Bristol, like I got to go to Bristol this year. And so even though I'm not leaving, I don't have to fly, but I still have to go. So.
I did my time. I know those hotels aren't exactly glamorous.
No, John. I'm not going to argue with you.
There you go. Coach Ditka's cigar bar, though, is pretty good. That place that he would go always and sit at the corner and smoke the cigars. He's always good.
Yeah, Coach Ditka would make any place in Bristol fun.
Oh, my God, he was great. Thank you so much.
The best.
Thanks,
hey,
Adam.
Guys,
enjoy football season.
Happy season to you guys. Enjoy the start of it. Look forward to talking next week, and good luck to you Eagles this upcoming week.
We're ready.
Thanks, Shefty.
There you go. Adam Schefter joined us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day, and Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. Thanks, Landis Block. We appreciate it to have Adam join us. Good. It's interesting to hear the difference between Schlereth and Schefter in their assessments. Much more cautious, though, on Adam, much more bullish. And I wonder if it's ex-player is just saying talent. I see talent. Whereas the cautious nature of the journalist.
Yeah, but both of their highlights went to the lines.
Yes,
right?
well, it is, right?
So it's the old football adage, you build from the inside out, and both of them stick to that. Shefty saying that the most important is somebody on the offensive line, and Schlereth saying their best piece on this Eagles team is the defensive line. So, yeah, it's slim pickings when you're trying to get out of people. All right, what concerns you about the Eagles? Even national people, it's tough to pull anything out.
Bob Cooney thinks he's going to be able to teach us something that makes us more positive about the Phillies' chances. Plus, we got to check on our jury appointments and more. We've only got 4 seated. We got 8 more to seat. John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. I do not consider myself a spokesperson
back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hopefully we're helping to get your Wednesday morning off to a great start. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Eagles season right around the corner. You got pregame coming up on Sunday, the first pregame of the year. Connor, you got postgame. Bobby's got pregame.
Yes, sir. We're sandwiching that Eagles game.
I'm sorry. Sorry I'm missing it this year, but trying to make sure that I get the rest in and we get this thing done. But, Bob, you're looking forward to a big season.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Tunis.
Going to have a lot of fun. Me, Tunis, and Egan. We're going to be out and about for for home games. We're going to be down at Live Casino and do our shows from there.
Awesome.
Away games, we're still not sure yet. We might be bopping around different places, but we will certainly let you know. So
looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're going to have fun with it.
And Connor, is it you and Tom?
It is.
Doing postgame?
Yeah, we got it for the second straight year. Now, last year, I don't want to say the success was because of us, but I don't want to say we had nothing to do with it. So it's nice to have the same postgame back, hopefully the same year.
Yeah, get on it, everybody. Get ready because the season is coming your way Sunday afternoon. Hey, the BetPark Sportsbook app's got you covered too. Pro and college football futures bets now on the BetPark Sportsbook app. You got to be 21 in Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So if you have not, I'll have a piece up at 975thefanatic.com today. I have listed all of my wagers for the year, all of my over-unders, everything that I've done for the year, including I bet the Eagles exactly 12 wins. The exact win total where you pick a win, and I bet the over 11.5. So I took both of them, and I think both of them should be able to pay off.
11.5 is over. That's a scary number, isn't it?
Well, last year they had 3 losses. To give them 5, I think is I just don't see it. I don't see this team slipping into the everybody else category.
No.
Where they're there with all the other teams. I just don't see it.
There's something in between.
Yes.
Right?
And it's
14 to everybody else,
12.
I think, would be 10, 11-ish.
Yes. 12-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I bet the Eagles to start 5-0.
Ooh. Spicy.
I don't think that's hard, though. Honestly, it's you win the New England game. You win Minnesota, Tampa, the Rams, and Washington.
The first 2 are the tricky ones.
Because you can bet on, like, BetParks, you can go, okay, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. You can bet on that. I was the only way I was going because the 6-0 game would be at the Jets. And I was like, could be tasty, prime, a nationally televised game. Could be a little dangerous.
You scared of Darkness Retreat boy up there?
Oh, I can't wait to.
Come on.
I can't wait. I did Jalen Carter for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Did Jalen Hurts for MVP. Eagles to win the NFC, Eagles to win the Super Bowl. And put them out there. So just some of them. I listed them all for you and all the different teams over under numbers. I'm not going to go through them, but I did 8 this year over unders other than the Eagles. I usually only do like 6. There were some numbers that just looked really good to me. So check it on out. And everybody, too, if you're going to get futures bets in, you got to get them in today because tomorrow it's the day. We get started.
Did you sign up for the confidence pool yet, Connor?
Of course I did.
You're already
I did
in?
it yesterday during the show.
Good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And John yelled at me.
That way I did. Yes, because we want to have you in because I sent out some more invites yesterday and we had a bunch of other people sign up, which is great. There are still some spots remaining. Very few spots are remaining. But what I would suggest to you is that you go to john.kincade@bbgi.com. I will see how many spots we have remaining, and I'll send out some more invites today just to fill out the field. When it is closed, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a really, really fun year.
Now, did I make my picks?
Not yet.
That's another question.
Bob and I finished top. Bob, by the way, you were 7th, I think, last year.
Is that what it was?
Bob was 7th. I was 2nd.
That's good showing by you guys. See, it's almost like I didn't even need to play.
No, we need you to play.
You guys carried us.
No, we want you to be able
I'm
to
going to
also
bring the
compete.
average down.
No, you won't.
And
why do you say that?
I'll
do that. All right. Do you have your jury member picked, Connor?
Yeah.
Who is your jury member? Who's going to join us?
I'm going to go ahead and give it to CJ Smith, who I play softball with.
We've met CJ
yesterday. Yeah, great dude, good Eagles fan, passionate guy, knows the sport very well. We're going to have him on.
And if he wasn't picked for a jury member, he could kick all of our butts.
Yeah, well,
He could wait outside and just knock us around.
I could take him.
I like CJ. CJ was good. He came to one of our first Fridays, which is good, so it's fun. He was at FanFest, right?
Yes, he was.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So CJ's going to be there. Bob, have you decided who is your sort of wild card seat?
Yes, I have. And her name is Maria Campbell.
Maria Campbell.
Good friend of mine who is an avid sports fan.
I like that.
Biggie. Now, just got to make sure. Now, they're calling in live this year?
Yeah, they're calling in live this year.
Okay.
No
Let her know.
recorded.
I'm a big fan of her soup.
I don't think it's a Campbell Soup fortune.
Is she from Jersey?
Oh, yeah, she could
That's
be.
where Campbell's
Wait a minute,
from.
Bob.
Her sister-in-law actually worked for Campbell Soup for a long time.
Oh, and I'm the crazy one.
Now, you're not crazy on that.
See?
Yeah. And her last name is Campbell also.
So the tomato needs a little more tomato-y in it, though.
No, we're
So you're sad with Maria Campbell. I
Maria
like
Campbell.
that.
Yeah.
Because we have Karen B, and now we have Maria Campbell joining in. I am appointing Mike McNellis.
Who?
Now, he's the third Mike McNellis that I know personally. I know his father, and I know his grandfather. And so Mike has been to one of our first Fridays.
Okay.
Incredibly passionate. Coaches ice hockey at that fancy Catholic school that will not be mentioned. That just goes out and trucks people. But Mike is an extremely passionate Eagles fan. He's actually worked with the Eagles training staff before in his life.
So we got an inside look.
I don't think he's got any inside connections right now, but he is. I tell you this: if you would watch a game with him of any kind, I would imagine you're getting constant commentary. So I'm glad to have him of the Havertown McNellis. He's of Haverford High School, so which is good. So there you go. We have 5 seats remaining, and we've had a couple people that have repetitioned to join, and we got a couple spots that could potentially be filled by people who want to come back. Now the question is, do you want to have people coming back to it? Other people coming back. Brian Weiler was great last year. He was great, and he's like, look, if you do have one of those spots for someone who's a returning, he would love to do it again. And he was very, very, very passionate and everything. And you have a lot, Connor, that you talk to on a daily basis.
Yeah, I handle the phone. So a lot of people call in, and I'm familiar with a lot of the callers. We'll also have to give Mr. Egan, who's disappeared to parts unknown.
He has disappeared to parts unknown. No. We cannot track down Egan and ask him to.
He doesn't get one because he texted me. He had a guy that he was interested in.
Oh, he's who?
Yeah, his name is Rowie Hoseman. He says
Rowie Hoseman?
He's very good at numbers, stat sheets, and everything like that. So if you want a more analytic look at it, I've heard that Rowie is interested. I don't know anything about the guy.
You can't be doing that. We can't have that.
Okay, he says he's busy during games, but after games he should be good.
That'd be great if it was. That'd be a fun one there. Bob Cooney wants to teach us something. And he would like to teach us something about baseball so we can maybe feel a little better about our baseball team.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's corner.
I'm here for you guys.
What are you going to teach us, Bob?
I am here for you.
Now, that's a little...
I'm not teaching you. I'm not teaching I'm teaching all of us, myself included. And it came about from yesterday when we were talking about Kyle Schwarber leading off. And I said that when he started the leading off, I hated it. Then I started to like it. Then I hated it again. And now I'm back to liking it because it's just what it is. That's what it's going to be. Well, that's your Philadelphia Phillies season. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. It's just going to be that way. It's going to be the microcosm of the season of what is Kyle Schwarber, a 190 hitter, 40 home runs, yay! A terrible fielder, 100 and plus RBIs he's going to finish with, yay! That's just this season with the Phillies. Like it or hate it, you have to ride it out that way because they are not going to unconditionally be like the Braves, 40 games over 500, expect to win 4 out of 5 all during the week, all of that. No, you're just going to have to ride the highs and lows. The only thing you can do is hope. Hope that Aaron Nola pitches in the playoffs the way he did last year or has the type of outings that he's shown a few times this year. Same with Zach Wheeler. You have to hope that Trey Turner stays hot. Hope that Nick Castellanos finds his bat again and stays consistent. And all the offensive things, that's all we can do because that's who this team appears to be.
Okay, would we accept this from the Eagles?
No, but it's different. It's a football season.
Okay, explain. No, I'm just talking about the performance level, the mistakes, the thing.
Yeah.
What would we?
You lose one game, you might be screwed. Like, you lose
that's
3
why-
games, you're in trouble.
No, that we're not talking about. That's why getting to the playoffs. So, yes, we can be. We can be exactly with the Phillies during a playoff run. You lose one game, oh, that's tough. Same as the Eagles. Yes, during a playoff run, you can. You can't do it during 162 games because you can't compare that to 17 in any way or any form. But you can compare playoff baseball, yes, John, to Phillies, to Eagles season, to an Eagles season, yes. So, yeah, every game is going to be heart-wrenching, every game in the playoffs. But right now, for the regular season, you just got to get there. You just got to watch and ride with the ride and see what happens. Then come playoffs, yeah, the Philly season turns into an Eagles season.
Okay, so if the Eagles play sloppy all year and up and down and everything, but they get in the playoffs, is it the same thing or not?
If you're saying to me right now that the Eagles are going to go 13
Let's say they go
4.
Well, what if they went 10-7 and they were sloppy and had some unexpected losses?
10-7 isn't what you're expecting.
Oh, I'm not expecting that. No, but what if they did? Would we have the same attitude as all they got to do is just get in? All they got to do is just get in.
No, that's not how that works. No.
See, our expectations for the Phillies were 90 to 92 wins. You've said what you said about, they don't look good going. Okay, you said the Eagles are going to win over 12 and a half games or what?
11 and a half. Yeah,
11 and a half.
Over 11 and a half.
Okay, say they go 12-5, 13-4. Are you going to be disappointed on how they got there, or are you going to be happy that they got there?
I'm gonna watch how they play.
Sure.
And last year, many times they had flawless offensive performances. They limited turnovers. If Jalen Hurts becomes a 12 interception guy, 13 interception guy, I'm gonna feel different about them.
And then they win 12 or 13
they
games
can still
anyway?
win. What if they win the same amount of games? I'm not gonna feel the same.
Well, then you can say that, Jalen Hurts wasn't an interception guy last year. If you get 3 games of Jalen Hurts not throwing interceptions, this team's gonna roll everybody over. Like, that's the thing.
You just got to ride the roller coaster the rest of the regular season for the Phillies. Then it'll make you feel better. It'll cleanse your soul. Your baseball mind will be clear. Then come playoff time, yes, treat it like an Eagles season. Every game matters. Every instant and every game matters. But for now, you just got to ride it out because that's who this Phillies team is. And the hope is, just like your hope for the Eagles, no injuries, and they play to their expectations. And if the Eagles do that, they're probably a 12, 13, 14-win team. Well, if the Eagles can play to the Phillies, their expectations in the playoffs, that means Nolan Wheeler being good and all the bats and all, then the hope is that they can get to where they got last year.
Why do we just
it'll make you feel better,
Why
John.
don't we just assume, though, like with the Braves? I hear people go, well, the Braves are the Braves. Like, why don't we just assume that? They started 3 rookies in their rotation for a large part of this season. I mean, they lost 3 starting pitchers.
They're
and
a good
still
organization. They're a great organization.
But we should expect that, right? I mean, no?
The Braves shouldn't expect that. They're putting together one of the great offensive seasons of all time.
Because they can be beaten, as we saw last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they can get spooked. And I'm telling you, all you'd have to do to beat the Braves, I really believe it is split in Atlanta.
Right.
And you were last year, you were a Reese Hoskins Boffo mistake from winning both games in Atlanta.
Yeah, do you think the Braves are scared of the Phillies right now?
No. Scared of them? No.
Well, do you think
would they rather have another opponent?
I don't think they're scared of anybody.
Would they rather have another opponent? I absolutely believe so.
But I'm just saying, no team. The Phillies aren't scared of the Braves.
No,
the Braves aren't scared of the Phillies.
No.
The 15 games makes no difference. It makes a difference in who's going to be able to say they won the NL East this year. But bottom line, as long as the Phillies don't collapse in a wild card series against the team we all feel they should be able to beat, whoever it is, we're going to get to see it head to head.
When was the last time they were in a division race?
Man.
I mean, seriously.
2020, were they tight?
No, that was a 60-game season. I'm not counting a 60 game. And they missed the playoffs and they let the Marlins in.
So then 2012, 2013.
Well, it's kind of like the way you talk about the Sixers. All right, 50 wins doesn't matter in the regular season. They have to win in the playoffs. The Braves win the division all the time, and they have less than a handful of World Series.
There's just a lot less teams that are getting in the NBA. You're just you rarely see what you saw this year with Miami. You've probably seen it 3 times, I believe, that an 8 seed has gone to where they've. I know the Knicks did it once. Miami did it once.
Right, in baseball you see it more. So wouldn't it be okay for the team to just get in?
Again, it's not the...
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
You're going against yourself.
You came from a town where you won division titles all the time. And World Series championships are Very few.
Oh, no, they absolutely are very few. They just won one 2 years ago, though. And it's the idea is that I don't believe you should be 15 games back. And it's just a baffling thing to me.
What part about what the Braves are doing right now makes you feel like they're not 15 games better than the Phillies over 162?
Because of the fact that I'm looking at who they're starting out as starting pitchers and stuff like that, and I'm going, "Are you kidding me?"
But the Phillies have nothing to do with that, though.
We've got a healthy rotation.
So they have
for the majority of the year, an incredibly healthy rotation, and they throw 3 rookies that we're afraid as an organization to throw pitchers young, and they throw 3 rookies out on the mound to win games for them. That bothers me as far as philosophy.
You can't ignore the fact that they have Spencer Strider, who's putting together one of the great strikeout seasons we've seen in a long time, and their offense is one of the best home run offenses in the history of the sport. This is not.
And by the way, the Phillies are going to have their best home run offense ever.
They might. I don't know what their total is for.
Is it getting close? Because it seems
I got to look at it.
It's so ridiculous the way they hit home runs.
The bottom line is, this is not a 92 win team that's going to win the division. This is a juggernaut, best team in baseball, beating everyone's teeth in. That's going to win the division, and it's not fair to compare anyone to them.
And as Bob says. A lot of times like that Seattle team. What did they win? 114?
116, I thought it was.
116?
Yeah.
And they lost in the 5-game series.
Yeah.
They lost.
That's the thing. Oh, you're just driving yourself insane by worrying about that 15-game stretch.
No. I watch them every night, so I'm expecting a better quality of play.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's a lot to ask from a $245 million payroll.
Even the teams that are giving you the better quality of play are just as fallible as the Phillies, and their ceiling is no higher.
So you believe everybody's ceiling is the same?
No, I don't. I don't believe that. But I believe the Phillies. I believe the top 3 teams in the National League have the same ceiling. The Braves, Phillies, and Dodgers could all win the World Series this year. And then there's a bunch of teams.
Could Milwaukee?
No,
I don't think so either. No.
Wow, their pitching is so much better than ours.
It is, but they don't have a good enough lineup.
Yeah, their lineup is just.
So you're in the conversation. You're not capped out by anything besides other teams being good, and you beat good teams last year. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen. I'm just saying I've seen enough from this team to know that their ceiling is the World Series.
It does, Bob. You do make it sound a little better.
Yeah.
That is. Is it. Now, what about Lorenzen? What do we do with Lorenzen?
You give
is he
him
a piggyback? Is he a piggyback guy?
He gets one more start, and then you start trying to transition him to the bullpen.
That's what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
He's got to be the odd man out. And I was somewhat championing for him to be the third starter in the postseason.
I think there's 2 odd men out. I think Sanchez and Lorenzen both end up in the bullpen.
Sanchez has been their best, though.
I understand, but you can go.
What would be the logic in that?
The bullpen hasn't been good, and you need more help in the bullpen. And if you can get a 4-man rotation of guys you trust, and Suarez, Walker, Nola, Wheeler, and I know that sounds funny saying trust and Nola in the same sentence, but those are veteran pitchers who have been in these spots before. You can survive with a 4-man rotation. You've got to move your troops where the need is most on the battlefield.
Are you trusting, though, just because of what you're paying guys?
No.
Because Sanchez has clearly outperformed Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, but he has never pitched in the postseason. I mean, 3 of those 4 guys pitched in the World Series last year, and Taijuan Walker's been around a long time compared to Sanchez. I'm not saying Sanchez couldn't start in the postseason. I'm saying that he's greener. He's a younger player.
Right.
And more importantly than even that, it's just you need more help in the bullpen right now.
I don't think Sanchez is I've heard people tell me, well, Sanchez is Bailey Falter from last year.
No.
I'm like, that's ridiculous. Bailey Falter gave you, 6 starts or something before the playoffs?
More than
something
that.
Maybe
but
8?
He wasn't as good as Sanchez was. I like Sanchez better as a pitcher, but I think the bullpen needs more help than the starting rotation.
Is he long-term plan, Sanchez?
Too early to tell.
I mean, pencil him in next year. I'm just talking about next year and moving on.
I don't know. Because you got to account for the McAble thing. He's in AAA now. It's too early to tell on him. You got to see what happens this offseason with the Nola stuff, too.
That is going to be the strange thing. The one thing that I was thinking of yesterday is I think the contract thing has absolutely messed with Nola, as has the clock. I think the fact that he didn't get that contract done, he realizes there's pressure. Does he realize now the opportunity? If he goes out and does what he did last year, the clinching effort against Houston, the Saturday night in St. Louis, and the game 3 against the Braves. If he puts 3 starts together like that are the critical starts of the year, Bob, he's going to get paid big money. Someone's going to say, that's the Aaron Nola I know he can be, and we can fix his inconsistencies.
Bigger money. He's going to get big
he's
money.
a big
no
money
matter-
either
yeah,
way,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Does he know that? Sure. I'll bet you it's probably the first thought he thinks of every time he wakes up. It's probably, how can you not? I mean, he's
No,
a
I don't
human
understand
being.
he
You
would,
have
right.
you have a chance to make unbelievably big money pending 3 starts. Like you just said, 3 or 4 starts. How could that not be at the top of your head?
And he made it there because the Phillies made him an offer and supposedly made him a pretty good offer. And he denied it and said, nope, I'm betting on myself. Now, when you bet on yourself, sometimes it's a bad bet.
Maybe
you bet
not.
on yourself.
Like I said, it's everything's reactionary. Nobody's more reactionary than us. Us here on the radio, people listening to us, we are a reactionary town. Well, guess what? There's going to be a lot of GMs out there that if he does what you just said, John, and throws some good games at the end and throws some good games in the playoffs, they're going to be reactionary to that and say, come here, here's $35 million a year.
I think he is. I mean, if he puts together, and by the way, that's what we all need to root for. We need him to be, we need Aaron Nola to put up, but I would be glad, no matter if he does it, to say, bye-bye.
Yeah, he's gone after this year.
I'd be fine to say, great time, and we appreciate you. And he's up there on some of the career statistics for Phillies pitchers, too.
Absolutely. He'll be looked at in a good light when he's gone, like when you look back on Aaron Nola's tenure. But right now, the well's poisoned. So
Who broke the mic flag here? I just noticed this. My mic flag's gone.
Yeah, so when you were gone, when we came back on Monday, when you were on vacation, the whole microphone fell off. So we had to screw it back in on the 5-minute time frame that we had, but trying to screw it in and putting the flag on at the same time wasn't happening. So we had to toss the flag and just screw in the microphone.
You know why you had to do that? The mangler.
Yeah, somebody was
the
handling
mic
it
mangler
hot over the weekend.
It's Tom Alvord. He is the mic mangler. He mangles the mic. Come on, Connor. Stand up for your boy.
I've said my piece.
Stand up for your boy now. I mean,
I will not expressly condemn or.
He is the mangler. It's like they're Elvis.
I gotta spend all post game with that guy.
He's a great dude.
Love you, Tommy.
But he is the mangler.
I'll be sitting in that seat for post game, so hopefully it won't happen.
That's good. That would be great. We would greatly appreciate it. But a mic flag would be nice too, though. I didn't even realize that.
I'll check and see if I have one.
See if you have a good one there. So, all right, coming up, Connor wants to take the quarterback out of the equation. Okay, the math's going to get very difficult here, and he's not a math guy. We'll get to that. Plus, an NLDS opponent. What if you could pick it? Because you can. John Kincade Show. We got around an hour or so to go. We're glad you're with us here on Night.
Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Do you have like the hidden room behind the wall where it's like the panic room, Connor?
What do you mean
in your
the
apartment?
room?
Like
No.
like T.I. has?
Nah.
No, you don't have that?
My apartment's too small.
Panic room, Bob? Do you have a panic room in the Cooney house?
No, I don't panic all that often. So I don't think I need a room for it.
He held all the weaponry there.
I don't
in the
have any
panic room.
weaponry.
You don't have any weaponry at all?
No. I got
Well,
these two hands that God gave me.
They still have not found the fugitive, I take it.
I told you guys to stop watching.
This is
I can't. I want it
this
on
is
right
incredible.
now.
This is incredible to me. Like, I mean, it's absolutely, this is absurd to me.
A state trooper called him Houdini last night. We're dealing with Houdini.
Yeah, but all you're doing is you're looking at the stage where Houdini's disappeared from. It's just an empty stage, guys.
Well, I mean, it really is like the reporters having to be out there. Who was out there this morning? Corey. We saw Corey this morning from Channel 6.
Yeah.
He was out there, and they have them out there, and some of them they have out there in like dresses, suit jacket and tie. Like, it's like, dude, you're out in 95-degree temperatures, and you're trying to catch this 5-foot tall Houdini, as they say. Guy got on me yesterday. He sent me an email, and he goes, "Why do you keep bringing up that he's 5 foot tall?" I said, because a 5 foot tall man stands out, just like a 7 foot tall man does.
But he's not standing out with anybody. He's in the woods. It's not like he's among people and you go, there he is. No, he's hiding out in woods.
He's doing it.
So it doesn't matter if he's 5 feet or 7 feet.
The thing is, he's walking on public trails. He's walking
not when police are there.
But I understand. But he's moving on trails that you and I could be on out there.
I don't know how he's doing
This is a strange story. I don't know how it's done. Where it's the story that's gripping the city. It's incredible.
Part of the city.
The coverage. Not you?
Nah, no
Hey,
chance.
not at all.
I got
gripped.
no interest.
I'm gripped.
Calm down over there.
Hey, CSB Media Arts Center in Cherry Hill is home to Connecticut School of Broadcasting's broadcast media program and more. Find out more at gocsb.com. Maybe that's where the mangler learned to mangle mics.
I don't think so, because I went there too, and I didn't.
And you
learn
do
how
not
to-
mangle mics.
No, I take care of the equipment around.
Gosh. Yeah, Ray Dunn's got a little mic mangler to him, too. Some of the new guard. Got to check him
Ray
out.
Dunn, you got to talk to your Temple.
Yeah, I'm going to say,
folks.
I don't know what course he took at Temple that told him to mangle, but it did.
Mike Mangling 101.
Hey, Connor wants to take the quarterback out of the equation for Sunday. How can we do that as Eagles fans?
Well, it's super easy. You just have to tell yourself mentally that the quarterback position is a wash and look at everything else. So you can look at that two ways. Either Jalen Hurts is as bad as Mac Jones is, or Mac Jones is as good as Jalen Hurts is. But either way,
it's a wash.
You have equal quarterback play from the Eagles and the Patriots. Is it still as decisive of a victory as we think we're going to get? Because I feel really good about the Eagles over the Patriots. But I think when you take the quarterback out of the equation, it looks a little bit tighter to me.
A, I don't think you can take the quarterback out of the equation because of B. I think the biggest advantage, New England's offensive line is destroyed. Like they just lost, I believe, their right tackle.
They did, yes.
They came in as a huge question mark anyway. Big advantage for the Eagles there. Therefore, I don't think you can negate the quarterbacks because I think Mac Jones is going to be running around and getting hit an awful lot on Sunday.
So
he could be a pinata on Sunday.
Yeah, even if there was a great quarterback back there like a Jalen Hurts caliber, he wouldn't have time to do anything because of the line. That's a great point. Something I was thinking about when I was bringing this up is that I think the Patriots have the advantage on the defensive side of the ball, maybe. I don't know. The Eagles' front is talented, but they're young. The Patriots front is talented, and their linebackers are better, and they have probably the better defensive definitely the better defensive coach.
Yes.
Because you have a new coordinator and everything.
Well, no, do we know that? Do we know ours is better?
Do we know that Bill Belichick is better than Sean Desai? Yes, we know that.
You're going out on a limb there.
Yeah,
Connor.
but the thing is, though, that would be like saying Nick Sirianni shouldn't be in year 2 a better coach than some of the veteran coaches. It depends a lot on the tools you get to use, right?
Year 2 is not game 1. Like, Bill Belichick has won multiple Super Bowls as a defensive specialist, and Sean Desai is getting his first shot as an Eagles defensive coordinator here. And I hesitate to say that the Eagles defense is going to look better than the Patriots defense if the quarterback position's a wash. Like,
wow, I think the Eagles defense is going to look twice as good.
I think they're more talented. And I think they're going to, by the end of the season, be significantly better than New England. But I think that Belichick has done this so long that the standard there is just, they're going to be good. And you still have, like, Matthew Judon's a great defensive player. They have some solid defensive backs. I don't think it's enough to shut down the Eagles. I just think it's closer if you look at the defensive side of the ball matchup, and that maybe if Hurts is rusty causes problems.
Wow, I think if you tell me the quarterback position's the same, I still think the Eagles win by a touchdown.
Okay.
Like it doesn't if it's same production, I would say the Eagles took the air out of the ball and maybe just ran it down.
Can't say that in New England, all right? They get triggered by that.
Yeah, you can't do that. That is the truth. That is the truth.
If the quarterback play is about equal, I think it's Mac Jones playing way above his head, more of a probability than Jalen Hurts playing to Mac Jones' level.
Do the Eagles still win that game?
Yes, I think so.
That reeks of shootout, and I'll take the Eagles' offense in a shootout against New England's offense.
Listen, I'm good with it. That makes me feel even more confident.
I understand. It's a good thought process.
It is.
It
is.
Yeah, I was already confident in the Eagles. I just wanted to see if it was a lot of what we're putting on, just saying, hey, we've got the $500 million man now. It doesn't matter what's going on anywhere else.
Here's where I can't do it, though, is that, like what Bob was saying, is that I can't see the Eagles' defense is going to make Mac Jones be less of what Mac Jones has the potential to be, not more.
Yes, for sure. It was a total hypothetical, and I do think the Eagles win. I just look forward to, if Jalen Hurts struggles, this team is still going to be enough to carry him. I think we focus a lot on how Jalen Hurts elevates this offense, and it might not give us the proper respect for how good the rest of the roster really is.
All right, so your question to me spawns another question.
Okay, spawn away.
Yeah, because that's what you do. Are there more answers or questions when it comes to Eagles defense to you?
Questions, I'd say.
Wow. No, I think there's more answers. The veteran corners, we know enough of the defensive line rotation. We know enough of those to know that they've got playmakers there. If you say linebackers, yeah, but I have more answers on defense than I have.
Well, let's see.
That evens it out at 2-2. Safeties are a question. Linebackers are a question.
I've got
defensive line you're comfortable with, and corners rightfully you're comfortable with.
I've got a question about interior defensive line. The defensive edge rushers I feel good about.
You do have questions like you're worried about. What are you worried about?
So you have Milton Williams, who everyone's like, oh, he could really be a nice player, but he's still got to take a step. Right. Jalen Carter's never played a game in the NFL. Jordan Davis was a disappointment last year, whether or not that was because of playing time or injury or what. And Fletcher Cox is way on the back end of his career.
He is.
So those don't sound like answers to me.
If you listen to guys like Jeff McClain on with Anthony Gargano and everything, we're the ones talking about him being a disappointment. The Eagles are not. Yeah. Like Jordan Davis. They're like, he was the best. They had the best run defense. Now, the thing is, he's got to learn to be a 3-down back. A 3-down player.
Right.
That he has to be in there on all 3 downs. And we haven't seen enough of that yet.
And that's a question.
But the Eagles aren't talking about him as a disappointment last year.
No, and I don't think these are bad questions. That's the thing. But I do think there are a lot of question marks that have a high potential. Like, could they be a very, very good defense again? More likely than not, yes. But there are a lot of questions that need to be answered for them to get there.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I do not. I'm not worried about this Eagles defense.
No, me either.
I think if the Eagles defense has the growing pains that I think they're going to have, I think there's going to be a.
So let's say it this way:
bumpy ride. I think there's going to be a bumpy ride for like 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, it's not so much questions. Is there more we know about this Eagles defense or don't know? I'd say there's more we don't know, but that's not a bad thing. We just need to see what these players are.
Yeah, because you can question anything. I mean, How are they going to use the running backs? Can Jalen Hurts repeat last year? All of those things, yes, you can question. It's an interesting – you have to question the safeties. If you're going to question the corners, it's because of age. You had the right question about the D-line, Connor. about the youth in the middle and then the age in the middle also. There's no kind of in between there. And then the linebacking core is probably the biggest question mark on the whole team. So
it is. I mean, there's lots of questions.
There sure is, yeah.
There absolutely are a ton of questions, and they have to be answered. I just have. I'm going to go talent.
Okay.
And I believe that takes a lot of the questions.
I don't think you're wrong. I'm just not. I don't have that answer yet personally, but I think it will go that way when I do get the answer.
9 o'clock hour. Very philosophical of you today, and that was interesting. The 9 o'clock hour of the John Kincade Show is brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. Get your stay at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Bagster.com. Bob didn't like your hypothetical as much as me, I think.
Yeah.
Did you give him the...
Well, no.
I don't want to give him too much praise. He's getting a little too comfortable in there. We were in the hallway on our last break, and Bill Burns comes up to him and says, Connor, you were really good when you did this today. So I see Connor's head getting bigger and bigger as we go on. It's my job to shrink it.
That's false. This hat has fit the same the entire show.
I've seen you adjust it a few times.
I made it smaller because of the hair.
Courtesy of our friends
at Yards,
which is great, and I appreciate the guys sending along some hats today, and appreciated the support. And need it when it's 95 degrees and sunny.
No, I need the hat kinda, but I need their beer more.
You need the beer more.
Yeah,
there you go. Hey, Grant in Chester County checks in. Grant, has the Fugitive entered your backyard?
Not my backyard, no.
That's good. Okay, what's going on this morning, buddy?
The country that he's in, people don't realize how many little streams and culverts. I could go underneath any one of those roads without being seen.
That's what I told Bob this morning, is because I live out in that area, and some of those roads, by the way, extremely narrow and wooded, and all the little creeks going through and everything. It's rough.
And then the sheer amount of rocks in those woods. It's almost like, when the Brandywine was bigger, it just left a ton of rocks everywhere. And I mean, there's boulders everywhere in those woods. It's actually kind of like a weird patch of the county because it's just the terrain is crazy. I mean, I canoe through there. I mean,
you canoe through there?
Yeah, going down
on the Brandywine Creek.
Would you do that? Would you do that? Would you do that while the Fugitive is missing?
I'm trying to fight my fiance off of running around over there on a rhino through the woods trying to find this guy for $10,000. And I'm like, she's like, we got guns. I was like, look. That's fine. Let the police do their job.
Exactly. What about the Phillies doing their job?
I hope they. I'm not super huge. I'm a Phillies fan. Always been a Phillies fan. Have not paid crazy amount of attention this year. I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm happy that it's the first Eagles game's on my birthday.
Oh, that's great! Happy birthday to you early.
Well, thank you. It happens every few years. And it's a great birthday.
That is going to be fun. Yeah, don't go vigilante on us, but tell your fiance, you can go out in those woods. I was telling Bob that this morning. There's you can get under all the roads out there on these little cement. They're like cement circles, and water runs right through them. And then you could do the walk where you put your hands up in the air and legs and move it through. Yeah. I don't know if he keeps changing clothes too, which I find strange. Like the other night he was wearing a hoodie. It was 78 degrees at my house, which is very close to where he's supposedly lost in 3-4 miles. And he's wearing a hoodie.
He's from Brazil. He's used to the torrid heat. This is nothing.
So 78 at night was probably chilly to him?
Yeah, he had his shirt off for a little bit, but 78 gets cold.
By the way, dude, you're 5 foot tall and it's not a good look.
What?
I think he is
a hoodie?
No. The belly's really big.
I don't know that he's worried about the fashion choices he's making right now. I think he's all right. He's trying to be
He's probably losing weight too, John, if you're saying he's got a fat belly. He probably hasn't
He's
eaten
out there.
in a few days.
No, he ate those pea pods that he stole from the guy that was flicking the lights with him.
Yeah, a guy breaks into your house. Are you playing Morse code
Come on,
light tag?
that's such a stupid story.
I got to tell you, I think I'm running down the steps and kind of trying to protect my house a little bit instead of flicking lights.
Wait a minute. He didn't have, and two, he didn't take a knife. He is a guy who his weapon of choice is a knife. You're in someone's kitchen. I bet you in the Cooney kitchen there is. Do you have the knife block?
Yeah.
Bob, He'd go in, if a guy's on the run and his weapon of choice is a knife, he's in your kitchen, he's looking for food, but he's going to grab those tasty big knives. That's his weapon of choice.
Well, the guy said he had a bunch of steak knives, and he didn't know if any of them were missing.
Yeah, that was good. That was convenient. It's very, very convenient. He's like a medium rare, and he's not flicking the lights with the guy. This is ridiculous. This story is wild, though. It's got everybody on edge.
Not everybody.
On Chester
I'm
County.
not on edge. I
No, in
I
Chester
don't want
County,
anybody
everybody's
to get
on
hurt,
edge.
and I hope
Right.
everybody's safe and all that stuff. But I'm kind of I'm gripped.
Yeah, it is. It's a gripping story.
I want to watch it all the time.
All right, Haley, I need you to come in. I have to apologize to Haley quickly. I said it yesterday. Got to apologize. I got on Haley about the fact that she decided to buy knockoff jerseys that were probably made in a sweatshop. And I got on her for it. And then my godson, and I'll blame Andrew Amicone for it, sent me the website. I saw that they were like $23, $24. And at that point, I'm in. $23, $24, I'm in.
You have to. It's such a good deal. And I told you, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I did because, I mean, I'm a big Rally House person.
Yeah.
So I get everything I can at Rally House. But you also want extra stuff to have extra stuff around. And I apologize because when I saw $58 for two, I was like, okay, that's a pretty good deal.
It's a good deal.
That is a good deal. What do you know about this killer guy?
Yeah, so I like the true crime stuff. I'm really intrigued by that. And Brian Kohlberger, who is the suspect in the Idaho case, he took the plane from Pennsylvania to Idaho. The same plane that they took him in is the same plane that is looking for this guy now on the run.
Really?
Yep.
This Kohlberger guy is a creep.
Yeah, the trial got pushed back to now mid-October. So.
My wife can't get enough of this story.
Yeah, no, it's insane. But everything's connected in a really weird way, so it's really intriguing.
You like the true crime stuff?
I do. I always said if I didn't do like sports radio, I would definitely go into law enforcement in some type of way.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd like to, be a detective?
Maybe something where I'm not on the field, but maybe like
behind the scenes
type of thing.
Her first case is the case of the missing happy hour location.
The missing happy hour location is
and
your first case.
they ended up in Allentown.
I could see Bob Cooney being cast. It's a nighttime drama, and the detective comes into the thing. Bob Cooney would be a great detective hire.
Yeah, but he'd be the guy that doesn't want the new younger partner.
No, exactly.
Because I only work alone.
And it would be Connor.
I've been ripping Marlboro Reds out back for my whole career, and I don't want anybody else.
I think you'd be that detective. You'd be old school.
By myself?
No. You'd be if you're investigating a case, Bob would be the old school detective. Like you'd have a pad and paper. You'd write stuff down. You'd be very detail oriented.
Yeah.
Gruff with a heart of gold would be like that. Connor, would they cast him as gruff with a heart of gold?
Maybe heart of silver.
Heart of silver.
Not as nice as gold, but it's up there.
What if Haley was his
You're
partner?
an idiot.
What if Haley was his
Do
partner?
not underestimate me.
It could
Haley
be
was
Haley.
my partner?
Yeah, Bob and Haley.
I work alone.
Good, thank you.
Oh,
That's
man.
terrible.
All
Haley
right.
can
Good
go
job,
behind the
Hale.
scenes. No,
Appreciate it.
you would be that. What was that show? Wait, Hale, wait.
Wait a minute.
What was that show? Is it Criminal Minds?
Yeah, Criminal Minds.
Where the girl is like really great at the computer work and she narrows things down.
Penelope Garcia.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's who you could
Yes.
see. I would be another guy. You
Hacking
could
into
be
this
Penelope.
system. Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
he's this way.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, she was always like in a command center.
She was.
They never let her get on with them on the road. My wife and
She
daughter
did get
watched that
shot
show.
on the show.
Oh, she did?
Well, not like in real life, but
How'd
her
she get
character.
shot?
She was
See?
dating this guy, and he ended up being like a killer. So
Oh, that's
shocker.
always good because
Yeah.
that happens.
Do a background check.
Well, it happened to me, so I can't do that. Good job, Haley.
Thank you.
Hey, if you got to pick the most favorable National League divisional series opponent for the Phillies, who would it be? Would it be the Braves? Would it be the Dodgers? Would it be the Brewers? In a 5-game series, those are the 3 teams ahead of you. So if you got to pick the most favorable opponent, who would you pick?
in order: Brewers, Braves, Dodgers.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Brewers, Braves, Dodgers.
Yeah, it's the Brewers, not even close. It's Brewers at a huge gap, and then Braves and Dodgers.
Well, what if I told you can pick?
What do you mean?
You don't have to be the top wild card and automatically get the Braves. You could do the path you took last year. How much do you think it helped the Phillies, the fact that they faced St. Louis in the wild card series? They faced the worst division winner. So if you do think Milwaukee would be the best option, then you try to beat Milwaukee, make the postseason, and then make sure and then totally like tank to make sure you're the least team that gets in. Because the other teams are going to have to push themselves. The Cubs are going to have to keep winning. They have to keep winning because they're in a battle right now. And the Reds, by the way, the Reds are the third wild card. The Cubs and the Reds are still in the division race. So those teams are going to be playing hard down the stretch. Philly's magic number to make the playoffs is 20. Get that 20, knock it out, and then sit back. Or is having the games here so important in that first round? Because last year, I don't know that it would have been if you were a higher one. I don't think the same thing happens. If you face the Cardinals, you had a good path last year with the Cardinals.
You did, but it's impossible to say. I think for this year's team, it would be much better for them to have those games at home because last year you knew who your top two arms were. That can get you through a wild card series. You go out and you say, okay, Wheeler wins, Nola wins, we move on. Now you can feel good about Wheeler, but the starting rotation after that gets murky, and I'd much rather have those games at home to get you to the second round.
Are you condoning this? Or
no,
are you
I'm just saying. I'm saying if you want to pick. No, I said to everybody, if you want to pick your poison, the Phillies can.
I want to pick my rose, and my rose instead of poison is having 3 home games to start out a playoff.
Have the 3 home games.
Absolutely.
Build the momentum.
There was nothing that Major League Baseball loved more last year than doing games in Citizens Bank Park. And we heard the national media. It was wild. Yes, get 3 games right off the bat or 2 games right off the bat at Citizens Bank Park. Get that momentum going. Get the fans into it. Know the feeling of that. No, that's what I want. Top wild card spot, absolutely.
Because that would be a path of if you go Milwaukee Dodgers.
Yeah, is
Milwaukee Dodgers better than they just lost one of their starters,
right?
But the Dodgers probably for the year because of a domestic violence incident.
Yeah, but it's not much easier than the other path, and you'd get to play more games at home the other way. No, I just say try and get the top wild card seed. Milwaukee would be an easier matchup, but again,
you talked about their pitching yesterday.
Yeah, is really good. The top 3 guys, so there is no easy path.
Is their top 3 the best in the National League?
You could make the argument that it is.
I mean, right now, and now Urias is the Dodger pitcher.
Yeah, Urias.
He's gone. I mean, they're saying he probably will not. They're not going to let it after what happened with them before with domestic violence.
It's his second instance of domestic violence, and they haven't expressly said whether or not he's suspended or coming back or whatever, but he wasn't traveling with the Dodgers. He's probably not playing again.
He was at a concert when this happened?
There were witnesses.
Where was
there were witnesses, and that's not.
I don't know if it was.
I think he was he was listed on the guest list for the LAFC soccer.
Oh, that's what it was. Messi was playing. Yeah.
Now the boss is coming back next August, right, Bob? It got rescheduled for next August.
Oh yeah.
What did you
Chuck D'Amico? I was like,
what did you think about the rescheduling of Bruce Springsteen? By the way,
I just hope all of us are still around when he comes back in a year.
Yeah,
a year's a long time.
I guess they couldn't do it.
You never know what's going to happen, Connor.
Because they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it in October.
Yeah, Phillies playoffs and stuff like that. That comes into play. Then it starts to get a little too cold out.
Bruce can't do that.
If you knew the Phillies weren't making it out of the NLDS, would you pick a Bruce Springsteen concert over Red October?
Wait, say that again?
If you knew the Phillies weren't making it out of the NLDS, would you pick a Bruce Springsteen concert over Red October?
Okay, that's a great question for Bob.
If I knew the Phillies weren't going to advance,
they were only going to win the wild card series.
They might play 5 games. They might push the Braves to the brink, but they don't make it to the NLCS. But they win the wild card series. Or you get 1, maybe 2 Bruce Springsteen concerts.
No, I'm always doing a playoff run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good man.
That's a good man.
Always.
That's the right answer.
That is the right answer. But I could see.
I've seen more Springsteen concerts than I've seen playoff series. I was going to say, but that's not true.
Are they different?
What?
The concerts. Are they that different?
Compared to each other?
Like when you go, like when I see these guys go, I think my brother's seen him 25 times, something like that.
Yeah, we're around.
Doc's seen him a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. Is it a different concert?
Yeah, it is. It's just and
I've seen him twice. Spectrum and the Vet.
Now things are so followed, it's tough. I remember first time going to see him or any concerts that people go to see. If you went to see concerts back in the day, you didn't know exactly what songs they were going to play. You didn't have the set lists all out there. Now you do. So the other night he plays his last show in New Jersey, and the set list was for Springsteen fans, phenomenal. You know, it was changed up, it finished differently, all of these things. So yeah, each show's different. It's
and some guys don't do that on tour.
No,
they don't. They don't change it up, or what it's going to be.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris Miller. Here's our daily Bruce Springsteen talk. He doesn't like it. Also,
sorry, Chris.
Earlier, this was misconstrued. My friend Rock is the one who is not a fan of Jalen Hurts yet. Chris Miller thought I was talking about him, and I just saw that, so I apologize.
Rock is not a fan
of
Jalen Hurts yet?
I shouldn't say he brings out the not good. Like the 22 touchdowns, he was the one that brought it up to me. Like, seriously, 22 touchdowns? That's not
I think it's
elite NFL quarterback. So that's who. Anyway, I didn't want Chris to think I was talking about him without acknowledging him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, an honest question Bob's going to ask us. I hope it's an honest question. It's about excitement. How excited are you? Cuz Radio comes your way at 10. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love the fact that H&H Heating
At home or on the go, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic on Odyssey on your smartphone, Roku, LG Smart TV, Waze, and more. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. Check it out now. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Bob's doing housekeeping, making sure the studio's nice and clean.
Somebody's got to keep it clean.
We like to leave it clean in here.
Especially after what Connor was doing earlier today.
What did I do?
Oh, boy. Don't tell
I
me.
didn't do anything.
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's on that microphone after you today? I need to talk with them.
Be careful. Be careful. Hey, our friends at Acme want you to know they're excited to help you start the new school year strong. From lunchbox essentials or back to routine meals, find all the fresh foods you need. See you around the aisles. Sincerely, your friends at Acme. They're looking forward to see you. Or, as my aunts said, Acme. They added an extra A.
Yeah, that was popular, I guess, in like Delco and over here.
Yeah, so it's definitely a Delco thing.
Yeah, I never really heard it growing up. I didn't hear the Acme.
Gosh.
We were just Acme people.
Nah, we didn't do that in Jersey.
Actually, we went to Pantry Pride, but
You went to Pantry. I remember Pantry Pride.
it used to be the shopping center.
I remember that.
Near us. Yeah.
I that is that is a pull, Bob.
Yeah, that is.
That's like
That was a long time ago.
Chuck D'Amico, I think, said the other day to me, well, like our two guys, he said, well, I think they became Jefferson Ward. And I said, remember Jefferson Ward?
Yeah.
And they had like
Some of my good friends got arrested there.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Those are always good things. Bob wants to ask us an honest question, and I'm always concerned when someone says they've got an honest question to ask me. Do they ask me dishonest questions?
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's corner.
That's funny you say that because when people say honestly,
I hate
and then
that.
I would say, what do you mean? Or the word personally. Me personally, I think, well, yeah, if you're saying it, I know it's you personally. So anyway.
At the end of the day.
Here's the honest question that I have for you.
What's that?
Today's Wednesday.
Yes, it is.
Eagles play on Sunday. Be honest with yourself when I ask this question. Are you feeling it?
Oh, I am.
Like normal seasons, like a normal Wednesday before a game, or even more heightened so before the first game. Are you feeling it?
Not the same as other years, absolutely. But I am feeling it. I know that. I mean, Sunday afternoon. I can't wait to see this team play again. I'm so excited to see them play. But it definitely feels a little different. And I think part of that is opening on the road.
I think part of it is, for me, it's the expectations. It's the don't look here, nothing to see. It's the ho-hum preseason training camp that they've had in that no big stories, good or bad. Just plugging along. This train's just going to roll. And here it is. It hasn't got me to that point. Now, looking forward, I can't wait till Sunday. I can't wait to wake up on that day, pregame show, knowing that it's a football Sunday. Love it. Can't wait for that. I just am not, I don't know. I'm not where I usually am on a Wednesday before an Eagles opener.
And you don't know why? Like, you don't know why?
It's because the way I just explained that. It's
like you're
just
feeling.
the train's just rolling. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. Question marks, few and far between. I don't know what it is. Connor, you know what I'm talking about? And do you feel the same way?
I do. I'm not excited, but I'm not as excited as I've been. So I feel you. I do think I'll get there, though. Like, I think by the time we get to Saturday night, I'll be like, I need to go to bed so I can wake up and get to the Eagles game faster.
I think we'll all get there, and that wasn't my question. Was for a Wednesday, and I probably didn't state it right.
No, you did.
For a normal Wednesday before a Sunday game, especially the opener. I don't know. I'm not there yet.
I'm sad that you're not.
It's not that I'm not looking forward to it.
No, I get you, but
I'll put it this way. It's like, all right, you're on a basketball team and you're getting they're about to introduce you as part of the starting five. Well, normally I'd be sitting on the edge of my seat. I could see Connor doing this. On the edge of your seat, they announce your name. Boom, you're up and going. All right, that's normal. This time I feel like I'm sitting back and I'm just, I have the water bottle in my hand. Oh, that's me. Okay, here I come.
Yeah, because that's what you'd be doing if you were playing in a middle school game instead of a high school game. Boredom is the price of success. This team's super talented. It's hard to get up for regular season games knowing that the goal is so much further on than that.
I think that's part of it, too, is when you're trying to dig. You got to know, like, if you lose in the championship, you know you have to start at ground zero. And he talked about it. Nick Sirianni talked about it when training camp opened, that everybody is like, okay, we got to go and we got to do all the things we did last year, and we got to do them better.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. And I'm not in a bad place. Like I'm not looking forward to it. I just don't have the normal hype that I would on a Wednesday before the opening game.
I know how to get him there.
How?
What are you going to eat? What are you going to eat during the game?
I was thinking of that earlier because
I'm going to pull an Anthony Gargano here. What are you eating?
Yeah, but I'm going to be here, so I'm going to watch Pat eat wings with gloves on.
That's really sort of creepy.
We'll probably order and we'll bring in food and we'll have fun with that. But yeah,
so you're going to stay and watch it here?
No. God.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
With
it's
Egan?
Like, is why is Egan?
No.
Is Egan like crazy to watch it with?
No, I just don't like him all that much to watch the game with. Yeah. I'm just kidding, Pat. No, I'll run from here. We'll get done a couple minutes before. I'll run from here home.
Okay.
Probably get home middle first quarter and then just rewind and start watching all over again. But yeah, I guess, Connor, you had a great line. That success breeds boredom. And maybe that's what it is.
I like the boredom. I like the new normal. I'm enjoying the new normal now because once I get over when I'm hearing from enough people in the know that the feeling of the boredom and the non-storylines is well earned.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
I don't not like it. I like being more excited, but I understand it. Yeah, it's just a weird spot to be in. We got to get used to it. Now, I'll ask you guys, because I was young for it. When they went to the 4 straight conference championships back in the Andy Reid era,
sure.
Did you guys ever get here? Did it ever feel like this?
No.
So what's different? Because
I don't know.
They kept changing things. They kept adding to that team to make the first year. Nobody cared that. I mean, people cared that they lost to the Rams, but they weren't supposed to be on the same field as the Rams, and they had the ball on the 48-yard line with a chance to go down and score and win that game and go to the Super Bowl.
I know exactly what it is. I'll bring it up.
What is it?
So the Phillies, the reason that they had the excitement going into this season is because of Trey Turner. You went out and you got the new $300 million man, and you brought him in, and you're like, we got to take the next step because you probably weren't supposed to be in the World Series.
No, you weren't.
And the excitement kicks in, and the attendance is crazy. The Eagles are just running it back. Who is the big acquisition?
It's in the draft, I guess is how you would call that, right?
And those guys normally take a while to pan out. They could win Rookie of the Year. They could be impactful for a rookie, but it's rare that you draft somebody and they come in and they immediately make a game-changing impact. It's just, they're running it back. We've seen this movie before.
I never got there with that Eagles team. I'm telling you, because Connor was different, we never saw the 4 straight tips to the NFC title game, we never saw a run like that as Eagle fans. So everything was just, oh my gosh, we're a dominant team now. We're a great team now. It was so new.
And you only got to the ultimate game once, you know, and then it kind of went down a little bit until 08. You had a magical kind of run.
And then you went and got T.O. So after that critical loss, you go and get T.O. to Carolina, and after the Carolina loss, and then everybody, this city was off the chain. If the kids don't say that anymore,
I don't think so.
Going into the TO season, the Super Bowl season, this city was crazy, nuts, absolutely crazy. Yeah. I love it though. I get it though, Bob. I mean, I understand why it doesn't, because I sort of feel it the same way. I don't have the butterflies yet, because I think I have the butterflies when I'm questioning their expectations. I don't think I have the butterflies as much when I'm expecting them to win.
Yeah, I'll wake up Sunday and be pumped for the day, like I said, because it's a football Sunday. I can't wait to do the pregame show and all. But for a Wednesday, the fire's not burning as much as it usually does.
Let's see if Brian in East Falls, is anything going on, Brian?
Hey, what's going on, John? How's it going this morning?
Doing all right, Brian. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. I was just laughing when you said off the hook. I don't know if they say that.
Off the chain. Yeah, I don't think they say that anymore, but I'll continue to say it because I'm a dork. What's going on?
But nothing much. I was calling because I spoke to Connor yesterday. I was trying to be a part of the jury, the Eagles jury, if that was possible.
Should we have a questioning of this potential candidate?
I think we might have to ask the witness
Bob,
to step to the bench.
You want to lead with the questioning?
Sure, I can do that. Brian, if you're to look at this Eagles team and the success that you're anticipating for this season, what has to be the biggest factor in going into that success if I take away Jalen Hurts?
I would have to say it would have to be the defensive side of the ball with the rookies coming up this year. I want to see how they play with the new defensive coordinator. I think the defense. I'm confident with the offense. They're going to put up points. I'm not worried about that. I think the defense is the big question mark this season.
How long are you a game attendee? Are you a home? Do you go to a bar and watch the games? Tell us a little bit about your fandom.
I normally watch it at home with the wife. We do a little cooking. Sometimes we try to go to a game a year, but I'm normally at home in front of the TV. I think that's the best way for me to enjoy and view the game and not be bothered with any nonsense.
Are you reliable, Brian?
I am reliable.
Okay.
Brian, what was the worst moment of your Eagles fandom?
The worst moment was the Rondé Barber interception.
Oh my gosh. Brian, I can tell you I was in the end zone that he was running towards. So they were trying to score. They were trying to score down the other end. When he got that ball, and I've told Rondé this in an interview once, I said that was the longest run ever. That took it was like in slow motion. Like I was watching.
It was deflating.
It was terrible.
It deflated the whole stadium. It was deflating.
It was terrible. What do you say?
I got to say, in my book, Brian passed the interview.
I think he did too.
I've got no complaints.
All right, we're going to put him on hold. Make sure, Haley, that we get the contact information for Brian. But Brian, welcome aboard. How about that? We're going to give you an 8th seat. How about that?
Man, I appreciate it.
There you go. Brian from East Falls. We're going to look forward to that.
Ask and you shall receive.
We're going to look forward to seeing what Brian's got to go. I want one of our I want the YouTube community of the John Kincade Show to nominate one person, and I will give them the seat.
Interesting.
I will give a seat on the jury to whoever the YouTube community nominates, but they got to be dependable.
Well, if I know one thing,
I would love Vince Pellegrini to do it sometime, but I don't know if Vince will be the one that they choose.
I know that the YouTube is very good at settling arguments. They never argue.
Oh no, they never argue.
They always come to a consensus, so it should be easy.
And they're always very reasonable, very reasonable minded. I love some of the discussions and debates are absolutely hilarious.
Let's remember that the audience oftentimes is a reflection of the product that they're following.
They are absolutely hilarious with some of the stuff. It's almost like a Seinfeld episode when you'll read the chat. You know, where you're just going, Elaine comes into the room and says, oh, there was this person today cracking their gum. And it was driving me. And I'll get into a 20-minute discussion about people cracking gum.
Yes.
They're very creative folks. So there's the offer. The YouTube community, and Haley can, figure out how to handle this. Who is the person that they want nominated, and we'll give them the 9th seat on the jury.
Ooh, nice.
So, but they have to nominate one person though, and it's got to be dependable.
Will they have primaries?
So
I'm interested.
A parade of state troopers just headed north on Creek Road from Baltimore Pike. Search seems to be focused alongside Brandywine Creek in Chad's Ford.
Wow.
I can't wait to get off the air just to watch this stuff happen.
That is awesome.
John's not with me on that, but
I got a text and I'm just a little choked up. I said that's right.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. No, it's good news. It's very good. I got my test results we've been waiting for. Came in and Christina got them.
All right.
And everything in my baseline test and everything in my test have come back negative. So I'm really excited.
Sounds like Connor
6 more to go.
Drinking after work.
6 more to go. I'll be having chemo. You guys go drink. I still got to do the final 6.
Yeah.
But it's the best news possible.
That's great news.
So it's great news.
We're happy for you.
There.
Awesome.
There is I have a hypothetical question for you.
I thought Chad's Ford might have choked you up.
No, it just got me choked up there. I'm very excited. And
you don't want the guy to get caught. You're getting upset about it.
No, yeah, I'm tired of it. I got to get him. Hey, I got a hypothetical question for you.
Is it an honest hypothetical?
This hypothetical, though, it is honest because it's based in fact, because it was the 50-year anniversary the other day. They do a survey every year of American sports fans. And it was the 50-year anniversary of this study where, for the 50th consecutive year, American sports fans said football was their favorite sport. It was the first time 50 years ago that baseball wasn't considered the sport. 1973, football overtook baseball. 1973, from then on, it has been football. I would say to you, is there a time you believe, Bob, we could say our lifetimes, and Connor, then you can say your lifetimes. where you believe American fans will say something other than football is their favorite sport?
No.
Nope.
I don't even hesitate.
Do you think if I had asked your dad, my uncles, everything like that, if I had asked them in the 60s or the 50s, do you think anything's ever going to supplant baseball?
They probably would have said no.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 50-some year run, and baseball was they had done it. They had done the study for like 30 years. This thing's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
And baseball was always the national pastime. Now it's football. And could anything, because I always hear from basketball people that it's coming, and I always hear from soccer people that it's coming. Soccer's coming. Well, they've been telling us soccer's been coming since I was in grade school.
Yeah.
And it never gets to that.
No.
Well,
dramatic. But it's much bigger than now than it ever was.
Oh, yeah, it's bigger.
It's much bigger than it ever was. And I think it's awesome that we have a team in town that people give a damn about.
Yeah.
And support amazingly.
I don't want it to not grow. I just don't think it'll ever.
No,
come on, usurp the NFL? Are you kidding me?
But in Europe, it has.
In Europe,
so
it always was.
I mean, as far as that's. No, I'm saying to you, as far as that's, amazing. Okay, so we go.
I'll go even further.
Does basketball, now that would include college and pro.
Yeah, it's not happening.
No, I don't think in young Jack or Riley Egan's lifetime will a sport overtake football in America.
Is there even if a sport was going to do it, is it basketball?
Well, I don't think so, because you have to think of it. In the 60s and all, when baseball was 50s and 60s, baseball was huge. Our father's time that you brought up earlier, John, football was still growing. I mean, you didn't even have the AFC and NFC yet. Like, it was still growing. Super Bowls didn't come about till 1967. Like, it was a sport that was growing. Do you see a sport now that's going to take off and grow in any way that'll challenge football? I just don't. And maybe I'm being short-sighted, and maybe in 10 years down the road, they'll do something differently with basketball or baseball that will make it more popular than football. But I just don't see it happening.
It's one thing I would say is that I know that they do the thing at, I would tell you, at Liv's school, back when she went to high school, from 7th to 12th grade, they survey the kids every year. And then when they get ready to graduate, they show them, here's what you thought. And they do these little like videos and everything from when they're 7th grade to 12th grade. They voted pro basketball as their top sport.
Right. And here's the issue. Here's where football is the unbeatable one of the three that we're looking at. Baseball, the league has too much power. Players cannot individually express themselves enough across baseball. They don't market guys enough. They don't make players' personalities. They're getting better at it. But baseball is Major League Baseball.
Correct.
They run everything and the players are secondary. Basketball, the players have too much power to the point where they're almost overtaking the league and that they're jumping from team to team.
And now they're pushing back against it like they're showing with James Harden this year.
Right, but still, there's not enough consistent. The players almost have too much power for the league to be able to grow as an entity. And football's right in the middle. You have personalities, but there's no question of Goodell coming and knocking your door down if you do something the league doesn't like. They have that balance struck between the players' personalities and the league's power better than the other major sports.
Whose power structure do you like the best?
I mean, I got to say football. Frankly, they have the best balance to me.
That's
because Roger Goodell, I think, is the most hated.
No, I hate him.
The weird thing is that he's the most hated, but we like
the way he runs his business.
The way he runs his business the best. That doesn't make sense.
Well, someone has to be the bad guy.
See, I do not.
A lot of bosses are hated, even if they run a great ship.
Exactly.
I think Adam Silver let things get out of control. I don't think David Stern would ever have let it get to the point where the players are just willy-nilly, I'm quitting on this team, trade me to this team. Like David Stern ran a tighter ship. Bob, you covered the league. You covered both men. I mean, you know how both men ran things. I think it's much more loosey-goosey under Silver. He's much more, I think, player-friendly than Stern was.
I think Stern had to be Stern to get the league to where it was when David Silver took over, or Adam Silver took over. I mean, I think David Stern. This is not a knock on Adam Silver because I've told you before that he does impress me, but David Stern had to put the boots on and really dig the NBA out and get them to where they were, and then Adam Silver, inherited that. I think. And has done a very, very good job.
I think that the Stern and him have done a great job.
Yeah, I think Silver's my favorite commissioner right now, but his league might have the least amount of power compared to the players. So I don't know. Does that say that likability puts you in a tough spot to enforce the league's power? I don't know going in that deep into it. I just think that football has the best balance.
Well, the other day, I don't know if it was Woj or someone else was on Malik Andrews' show where they were talking about the fact that Adam Silver's trying to put the ketchup back in the bottle with player empowerment.
It's tough to do.
He was all about player empowerment. And now he's seeing that player empowerment can also go too far. And James Harden was one of the guys they were talking about, is that he's slamming down on James. He's gonna make sure James Harden doesn't turn this into a clown show.
Too late.
I think it's too late.
But it's too late. And if Adam Silver, if I'm reading the situation correctly, if I'm Adam Silver, as much as I keep an eye on it with slanted eye saying, oh, man, what's going on here? I also sit back and say, wow, other players are seeing that if you try to do business for yourself against the league, look how badly it turned out for James Harden.
And, it's and the thing is, I am the person that is always about I want the player empowerment. Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing the players. Like I love the college football players, college basketball players getting paid.
But
I absolutely love it, and I know that it's going to hurt the game. I love it because I think they always should have been.
But you can't empower the players to the point where they overexist the structure. Like, they should deserve their opportunities to make their own decisions and everything, but you can't give them more power than the league because then they run it and you're creating a structure that's irrelevant.
It's still their job.
Exactly.
Why are our daughters? Well, why are we sending our daughters to college right now, Bob?
To get them out of the house.
Well, that's part of the reason. But to make money.
Oh, is that it?
To learn how to make money, to learn how to go. And to me, the college players and everything getting paid, I absolutely love it. And by the way, if you want to know why Clemson is all of a sudden becoming a dumpster fire of high expectations with low returns, Dabo Swinney, the coach who is most anti-players getting paid and is verbalized and vocal about it.
Yeah.
You got Kirby Smart going and making presentations at corporations, Nick Saban going to Affleck and other things, making presentations where, every player in the program is going to get $5,000 from Affleck or whatever. You got guys that know how to work the system to pay the players, and then you got guys that are like, I'm against this. I don't know. He said he was going to quit when players started getting paid. Dabo hasn't quit yet.
Oh, he looked like he quit against Duke.
I think he likes $11 million a year, $12 million a year, whatever they're paying him. But I think it's the beginning of the end for Dabo. Because if you don't embrace the players getting paid,
right, that's the thing, and that's the baseball. The players need some opportunity, but they can't have more opportunity than the league exists as itself, or then you undermine the whole structure. So it's a tough balance, and I think the NFL's got it right.
We have a result from our YouTube community.
Oh, do we?
They have spoken, and they have chosen John Cheeseborough to be their representative. I find him to be passionate, reasonable. I think
have we met him?
I do not know as far as his commentaries. I think he's passionate, and I think he's reasonable, and so I think that's great. Plus, he can be colorful, which is great. So that's good, John. That's very excited. You are part of our jury. We got 9 seats. We got 3 more. We got 3 more tomorrow, and tomorrow, by the way, on the show tomorrow, we now take we've told you who our playoff teams are. Tomorrow, we will have our playoff teams seeded. So we will have that all seeded in advance. So, Connor, your 7 teams are seeded.
Okay.
And you don't have one team twice.
I'll try my best.
So we're going to do this. Don't do an Egan on me where you're doing it while we're doing it.
I won't do that.
Okay? Like there's a little
I can't
homework.
guarantee it'll be right, but I can guarantee it'll be done before.
Now, I did my homework at times in the cafeteria at O'Hara. There were times where I was doing my homework right before class.
Is that a thing?
You didn't have Camden Catholic? They didn't make you do homework?
I don't know.
I
was a lazy student.
I still can't. Can you believe that when Bob says it?
Totally.
See, I can't. I guess it's the Bob that I know. I can't imagine being lazy at anything.
Well, Bob works in something he loves now. If he didn't love school,
school wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. I love the social aspect. I love playing basketball. I did what I had to do in order to stay on the team. And sometimes did stuff that I should have done that should have got me off the team, but nobody found out. So
why don't you say it now, Hot Mike?
Statute of limitations is fine, Bob. You are not. Just list a few of them because it's.
What are they going to kick you off your high school basketball team?
Yes.
Well,
you're 80.
Yeah, not now. They're not. But I was in a place you weren't supposed to be in at my age after a game one night.
Oh,
and they took me to the local. People came to the table and kind of took me out and took me to a local jailhouse.
that's not great.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah,
That happens to the best of us.
That'd be good.
Now the worst part of the story is this. So my dad worked at the Daily News at the time.
Oh no,
he had people over to the house before the game and after the game from the paper to watch me play.
Oh, gosh.
I had to call from the police station.
Bob.
And my dad didn't drive. He had to get one of them to drive him to pick me up.
Oh, my
So I
gosh.
walk into the house, and they're like, nice game? Like, how do we approach this?
Your father ready to, was he more quiet? Or was he more loud when he was angry?
He was man of few words, very, very deep voice. Probably didn't have to say much to me. But one thing he did tell me was, you make sure you tell your coach the next day.
Oh, boy.
I told my coach a couple years ago, I think it was.
What?
Well, it sounds like you got away with it.
I did.
Proud of you.
Connor, your dad, an imposing fellow.
Yeah.
I would imagine he used few words. Did he bark? Was he
No. Never.
No? Because he seems so Marlboro manish.
Yeah, he's very low-key. He never really...
Such a kind, he's a kind-looking man.
Only when he coached. Like, around the house, no. When he coached us, we would get into it a little bit every once in a while. I've seen him break a clipboard before mid-game. Just, snap it.
Who was harder at home, mom or dad?
Oh, my mom, easily.
Betty easily over Tom.
Yeah,
my dad.
My mom was a softie.
Your mom was the softie?
Yeah.
She made you, she empowered you to be able to do these crooked things?
No, I was a good kid. I really didn't do... I really was. And my friends will tell you to this day, like, they make fun of me, like, oh, Coon's going to call the cops on us. Like, I was the guy that, no, guys, we shouldn't do that. But, yeah, this one time after a game, we just went to this place to where everybody went, and I never went. It's just a bar. It wasn't anything big. And we sat down and ordered a couple of drinks, and boom, right as we did, they came and sat down next to us and said, how old are you guys?
Oh, no.
And
you said 24,
sir. They took us, and they closed the bar.
They closed the bar because you were...
Yeah.
Now, did they ask you to leave?
No, they took us to the police station.
Oh, my gosh, that's terrible.
Did you tell him you covered Babe Ruth's first game?
So I had to write a 5,000-word essay for about mothers against drunk driving.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that, and luckily it stayed kind of low
below
key.
the radar.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's kind that somebody...
There might have been a little line when I got home from practice the next day. My dad said, did you tell your coach? And I said, yeah. And he said, what happened? I said, he made me run a lot. He said, okay. But I never told my
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You know you're going to see Dad again. And he's listening to the show right now, right? Or wouldn't he be listening? Would he be listening?
Would my dad listen? Probably, maybe.
See, my dad would listen just to call after the show to tell me what I was wrong about. He would listen and go, I can't believe you had that take on the Eagles. Can't believe he wouldn't say take.
He'd have a field day.
Oh, he'd be all over. He would be seriously. They would be call, and then. But the thing is that all my uncles would be calling too.
That's funny.
They would all be. Uncle Yummy'd be calling, especially about my picks. Uncle Wimp be calling. I mean, my phone. I'd have to put it on blocks. I'd have to block some of them.
My dad was a real humble man, so even if he did listen and liked or disliked, I don't think he'd say anything to me.
Really? Oh, geez. I would have gotten the...
I don't know.
I would have gotten the Inquisition.
20 plus years, so I don't know.
My dad's dead 40.
Yeah,
and I just go, and I go, but I know exactly how he would have been because that's what he would have done.
Yeah, my dad listens, texts me every once in a while.
Your dad's a good dude.
That was a dumb point. That was a good point. Cool. Thanks, Dad. Love you.
Dad's a good dude.
That was me.
Oh, so does he ever tell you had a bad point?
Oh, yeah, every once in a while.
Okay.
He'll be like, what are you talking about, kid?
Okay. Oh, and you get the kid?
Yeah.
Oh, that always will get you.
So I don't know if you were here last week, John, real quick, when we did the pet peeve thing. And my pet peeve was time. Like people that aren't, knowing of time bothers me, like being on time.
Right.
And I pointed out my sister-in-law and my niece. Well, yesterday I went to pick up my sister-in-law to take her to a doctor's appointment, and damn if she wasn't ready 10 minutes early because she heard that I talked about her on air. See?
Love that.
We're here to improve people.
Hey, Zach Wheeler's going to hopefully improve the Phillies' chances this afternoon. He'll be on the mound as they close out that series. By the way, he'll be then ready to start Monday night in the doubleheader, one of the games against the Braves. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partners, Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. I got good news today. And now I got to go do chemo, so I'm going to go do my 7th treatment. But got some good news.
Do it with a smile.
I will. Just sit in that recliner and let the poison pump in. Good news today, though. Hopefully you have a great day. Cuz Radio comes your way next. We'll be with you tomorrow morning, and you'll find out our playoff